Well, hello everybody this evening. It's the Critical Drinker here, and I'm doing a very special, well, first in a series, I guess. I didn't even really know what to call it because it's not really an open bar, it's not really a happy hour. It's me interviewing an awesome celebrity that's I've been a fan of for a very long time, but I'm just very pleased to be doing it, so I almost don't care what it's called. But yeah, here we are, and I'm joined this evening by the one and only Flash Gordon himself, Sam J. Jones. Hello, sir. Thank you for coming on for this. This is awesome.
Hey, Will, thank you for having me. I guess you
This,
can call it the Critical Drinker meets Flash.
that's it. Yes. Oh, I tell you, man, all of my childhood dreams have literally just come true at this moment. This is awesome.
Really? Yeah, it's wonderful.
No, it's great to have you on for this, and yeah, it's going to be interesting just to be able to talk to you a little bit about your career, like this movie, what you've done before and since. Yeah, it should be great, man.
Oh, yeah. So fire away, whatever you want to talk about. There's just the three things I can't talk about. I can't talk about the movie business. I can't talk about personal appearances or my personal life. Other than that, go ahead, buddy.
All right, well, it's been awesome having you on, Sam. See you later. No, I mean, I know that, obviously in recent years, I guess since things like Ted came out and kind of renewed interest in things like Flash Gordon, you've been very active on the convention circuit. Like you do lots of appearances all around the world. I mean, that must be awesome, man.
Oh man, it's such a blessing, and especially the last 2 years. I mean, it's for all of us because we around the world, doesn't matter where we live, it's all about community for us. So thank God I've been able to travel and get out there, from this isolation that we've all been experiencing. And guess where I'm going to be the first weekend of April? I'll be at Wales Comic Con in Telford, Wales. And my good buddy Jamie Milner, he's the owner. And I mean, Will, you have to come. And I know the fans that he does such a classy, incredible event. Big names, huge names are going to be there as well. And so I'm looking forward to meeting you there. And then, of course, all the fans to Wales Comic Con. I believe it's April 2nd and 3rd. And yeah, that's where I'll be. And that's opening back up again, because I've primarily just been traveling domestically here for 2 years. So this is the first international event that I'll be attending since COVID.
No, that's awesome. Honestly, it's such a good feeling to feel like stuff's getting back to normal now. We can travel again.
Mhm.
We don't have all these restrictions. We don't have to wear masks or anything like that. It's great to get a bit of normality again. And I can't wait to do stuff like this again.
Yeah, it's
So
exciting.
yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll be there in Wales. I know that there's another YouTuber called Mauler who I do streams with quite regularly. He's based down in Wales, and who knows? Maybe a team up's in order. But yeah, if I can get down there, man, I absolutely will. It sounds awesome. Um, but yeah, I was gonna like obviously, you've had one hell of a long career and you've done an incredible amount of stuff. Like, whether it's movies or TV, like you've been in everything from like the A Team to Baywatch to Stargate SG1. You've kind of done it all. And man, there's just so much to kind of ask you about. I mean, apart from the obvious, of course. I mean, I know that from what I've read, you when you finished up high school, you joined the Marine Corps. You've done a stint in the Marines.
Yeah.
You then got into football, and you kind of almost turned pro with that, and then got into acting from there. So it was kind of
Yeah.
a quite a transition for you. You did a lot of different stuff in that early period, and then yeah, obviously Flash Gordon came along, and that was your first big feature film that I know of that you were the star of.
Right.
And man, like I know you've obviously been asked about this a million times before, but you know, I guess I can just say from my own point of view, watching that movie, even now, it's a hell of an entertaining film. Like the cast is fantastic. You've got Max von Sydow, you've got Timothy Dalton, you've got Brian Blessed, who can basically just be a movie unto himself. Like that man.
He will be with me at Wales Comic Con.
Oh,
Brian.
really?
Oh yeah. So I mean, we rarely get to appear together. So this is a rare opportunity for the fans to come. You come and meet Brian Blessed and myself, and I believe we're going to do a panel together. And we've done a few. We in the past years ago, we've done a few panels together, and it's off the charts. You know, when Brian walks into a room, he takes it by storm.
Yeah.
And we're sort of it's a great duo because once you give the mic to Brian, that's it. You know, he gets into a 10-minute, and this is how we do our panel. He'll get into a 10-minute monologue, and he went downstage. He's downstage, standing up very close to the fans. I'm back behind him, sitting in my chair, and every 10 minutes he'll take a break and he'll say, "Look at Sam. Isn't he beautiful? Now back to me." So it's a one of a kind panel. No, it really is. But Brian is such a blessing. Has been since 1979. He was one of my mentors. I should say encouragers, because I was green. I was a rookie on that. Even though I was the lead, it was my first lead role. And people like Max Fonseca, who you mentioned, and Brian Blessed, really. They were just they created an atmosphere full of joy and excitement and fun, which means a lot of the stress and anxiety was diminished because of them in a good way. But yeah, it's the career is great, man. I have no complaints. You know, my wife is happy. Once the wife is happy, then everything else pretty much lines up. But I refer to Flash Gordon as the triple blessing. The first blessing for any of us, no matter what industry we're in, the first blessing is getting hired for work. Okay. Yeah. Second blessing is if what we do does well. You know, the project we do, your show is doing great. Flash Gordon did fantastic. And then the third blessing is what we're talking about right now, the triple blessing, longevity. I mean, here we are 42 years later. We filmed it in 79. But here or is that the right math, or is it 43 years later? Oh my gosh.
I wasn't that great at math in high school either. I think it's 43. That'll be 43.
Yeah, we're still talking about it, Will. Isn't that crazy? And to me, a lot of the fans asked me if you could describe Flash Gordon, the movie, in one line. I would just say it's a visual masterpiece. I wouldn't sit back and try to analyze it. You know, don't try to brainstorm it too much, because you'll probably be disappointed. Because, you know, is it camp? Is it serious? Are we supposed to laugh? What is it? All I can say is it's a visual masterpiece, and sit back and enjoy the ride.
Absolutely. You know, I've said this about many films, right? That not everything that you watch needs to be an Oscar winner. Not everything needs to be this, you know, deep exploration of the human psyche or whatever. It can just be a fun movie. And that is like exactly what Flash Gordon is. It's a fun action romp, I guess. Obviously takes its inspiration from the serials, the adventure serials from the 50s, I think it was, the original Flash Gordon. And it brings it into that, I guess, what was the modern era at the time. But like you say, the thing that strikes you about that film is just it's visually beautiful. Like there's these big extravagant sets. In every scene is like the sets are just so huge and so elaborate and so like well done. Like everything's brightly colored and everything. It always stands out to me because it would have been easy to just, you know, corridors or whatever could have just been just basic things, but they really went all out to make every scene visually interesting, and I love that.
Yes, referring to the sets, Dino De Laurentiis, he brought in Danilo Donati. Well, who's Danilo Donati? He did all the Fellini movies. There you go. Okay,
right.
With that visual, that whole one of a kind visual. A creativity to it,
and even the costumes as well. There's people that you only see on screen for a few seconds, just extras in the background, but even they have been given these big extravagant costumes that, you know, it just looks great. And I love the fact that they put so much love and care into doing stuff like that. That always impresses me.
Yeah, and will be very difficult to replicate nowadays, because remember, for instance, take Ming the Merciless. Take his costume, 30,000 hand-sewn beads. hand sewn into that wardrobe,
Damn.
30,000 beads. Okay. Dino had this whole, he brought in remember we filmed it in England, and he brought in a lot of Italians in the costume department to sit there and hand sew all those costumes you referred to. I mean, Ming's, of course, he was covered more so than anybody, but all these scantily cladded women, okay,
Yeah.
Ornella Muti, and a lot of those extras, the ladies you talked about, they were all hand sewn beads, but not 30,000. Most of what the ladies were wearing were probably only 100 beads. Okay.
There was a lot of lycra and stuff with the ladies, but like even now I still remember Ornella as like, damn, she was beautiful.
Yeah,
Wow.
she's still incredible. Yeah. I hope to see her soon, because, 2 years ago, right before COVID, I reached out to everybody. I had Ornella, Melody Anderson, Brian Blessed, and we signed the contract with each other. We were getting ready to travel the world for the big 40th anniversary. And then I think a few weeks later, COVID hit.
Oh, damn. You need to do that, like a postponed version of that. We can pretend that the last 2 years didn't happen, because that would be awesome to see that cast reunion.
That's right.
Yeah, like, so many, like, obviously Max is no longer with us, but most of the other people are, and it's it's just great stuff. Obviously you had that soundtrack by Queen, man. Like they could make or break a movie back then.
Amazing. Yeah. Matter of fact, we did a documentary, a couple producers from the UK, Lisa Downs and Ash, that's his name, Ash. They produced, I helped a little bit, but they really did all the work, called Life After Flash. And they shadowed me off and on for 4 years. And this has to do with Queen, and they interviewed Brian May. And you've got to see the documentary called Life After Flash, because Brian gives us incredible insight into that whole recording session that lasted a long time, trying to get Freddie to hit the high notes. He didn't want to do it, but he did it. And the way Brian encouraged him. And he gives us incredible insight about that as well.
Nice one. No, that sounds great. And then, you mentioned before that, like, this was your first big starring role, and suddenly you're on this enormous production, and you've got guys like Timothy Dalton, who he always struck me as like a very dead serious actor. Like he's going to take his craft seriously. Like, what was he like to work with?
No, he was wonderful. I mean, he was a giver. He did give, during the scenes. But you're right. He was, probably as prepared as Max was. And I just watched and didn't talk a lot and listened a lot. And I knew right away. It's funny. I don't know about you, but when I talk to most men, I get there's two voices in my head. And the first voice is usually what I call the voice of fear, or the negative voice, which saying, you don't belong here. Look who you're acting with. Look, that's Max von Sydow. That's the Dino De Laurentiis. That's Brian Blessed, Timothy Dalton. You don't belong here. And then that second voice comes in and says, wait a minute. You do belong here. So just stop thinking about all that unnecessary that's going to diminish you and take you out of the very purpose that the good Lord has put you there, so you can shine and share the Creator's vision. So Will, I had to learn real quick. Shut all that out. And I carried it over in life. And all of us, especially guys, where we got these voices in our heads saying, you can do this. Oh, no, you can't. Because when I walked on that set before I had my first scene, and the sets back in 1979, some of those sets were $1 million sets. And I was just overwhelmed. And then Max and Brian and all these big names. And finally, that good voice just said, shut up. Stop listening to that. That's not your job. That's not your job, Sam. Your job is to show up like Max von Sydow, like Brian Blessed, like Timothy Dalton, and all these other accomplished actors. Your job is to show up and be, if not as prepared as them, better prepared than they are. And once I did that, it was a breeze. It really was.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about, man, because I'm living through it right now. Like, I'm the guy who's like, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm talking to Flash Gordon, man. This is awesome.
But we all learn from each other. You know, I'm 67 this year, and I love it. I love this time of my life, and thank God I'm learning to be teachable. I'm learning to be, you know, I get, you know, myself gets in my way sometimes, but I'm learning to be, no matter what age we have to be, if we're going to grow and develop and really step into our destiny, then we need to be good listeners. Maybe not talk so much. Of course, it's hard not to talk when we're doing a talk show. But
Please don't take that advice while you're here. It's like, I'm going to ask you questions, and you're like, nah, I'm not talking.
yes, yeah, ask me a question. Well, yeah, I'm not talking right now. I'm just listening. Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
Can't you read my mind? Can't you read my mind, man? Yeah, but I'm just learning to get me out of the way, and really, and with that said, oh, man, it's great to be teachable, man. A lot of people, it doesn't matter. Some people will interpret that for weakness. It didn't bother me. It's not weakness, man. It's strength. When no matter what age that we can listen, and no matter what status or class somebody is, whether they're upper class or, you know, middle class or blue collar, white collar, doesn't matter. If we have ears to hear, that's how we're going to grow, and that's how we're going to get wise. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm learning to do that more and more.
No, that's good advice for anyone, I think. You know, there's always something that's worth listening to from other people, and you
Amen.
know, to keep an open mind about things. Yeah, man, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not weakness.
Yeah.
That's just that's being a good person, I guess. And it's good to know you feel that way.
Yeah.
Um, the you know the other thing I was going to ask is, like, obviously, you know, Flash Gordon did pretty well. Like, financially, I think it made back well over twice its budget, so it was a pretty successful movie. And the ending kind of leaves it open for doing more, like a sequel. Was there
Sure.
talk about doing that? Was there
Yeah.
discussions about how you were going to move forward with it?
Well, yeah. For over the years, yeah. You know, we have a vernacular. We have a term in the film business. It probably can. It's relevant for any industry when we say, "Oh, yeah, my project is in development." What that really means is 90% of the time is they don't have the money yet. Okay. However, the crazy thing, Will, with Flash Gordon, every time there were three different people in the past who acquired the screenplay rights, and we're talking reputable people. I think Steven Summers, who did Van Helsing, was the first. The second was Neil Moritz, who did all the Fast and Furious. And then Fox Studios, hello, Fox Studios. And they called me in around probably 7 years ago now. And I met with them over there about doing a new Flash Gordon. And they're real particular on even that terminology. Is it a reboot? Is it a sequel? You know, of course, Disney bought Fox, right? This was a year plus, and Disney decided to do a animated version, and they brought in a Waititi, yeah, right?
Taika Waititi, yeah.
Yes, to do an animated version. But what's really cool, here's this incredible talent, Waititi, and here he is for a couple of months going through, and I'm just, this is me kind of thinking like him. I've not met the man. I'm looking forward to meeting him because he's such a incredible talent. But I'm trying to put my mind in his mind. So here he is still is prepping. Okay, Flash Gordon, I'm going to do an animated version. This is great. And then all of a sudden, a couple of months went by, and he said, "Wait a minute, what am I doing? Let's do a live action Flash Gordon."
Yes.
Guess what? He's going to do a live action Flash Gordon. That's where it is now. That's where it stands.
Are you in it? Are you going to be in it?
We haven't met yet. We haven't talked yet because it's changed hands so much, but owned by Disney now. And of course, I mean, it's so the past 30 plus years is anytime somebody came on board for some strange reason and they were extremely reputable, they had the money, but for some strange reason, it never happened. So I'm hoping with Waititi right now, it's going to happen, and with Disney, and and I'm looking forward to meeting with them and talking with them and arm wrestling the young Flash Gordon. That would have to be the test for me. I'm serious. I'm very serious.
That's a good test because you're a big dude, man. Like I've met, like we were discussing before. I met you, and you're like towering over me, and I'm like 6'2". So damn.
I still train, but yeah, if the new Flash Gordon they cast, this should be a prerequisite. This should be the test. If the new Flash Gordon that they are interested in, before they hire him and sign on the dotted line, he has to arm wrestle Jones Flash Gordon. He has to arm, and I'm very serious. I don't care if it's left-handed or right-handed, okay? And I'm 67 years old. So, okay?
Get that in the contract, Taika. That's what we need. Your man's got to beat Sam. But no, that's cool. And you know, I honestly would love to see you come back in some kind of live action, whether it's a sequel or remake or whatever. You know, I was kind of wondering as well, but when you mentioned Stephen Summers as well, I think he would have been a fantastic guy to do a Flash Gordon movie.
Yeah.
You know, I like Van Helsing, I like The Mummy. Those are great adventure movies.
That's right.
And I feel like we just don't get enough of that kind of thing now. But yeah, like back.
Oh, good. Oh my gosh, that is so good.
I got something a little better here. But yeah, you know, in the aftermath of the first Flash Gordon back in the 80s, I mean, did De Laurentiis want to do another one, or was there an opportunity to do that, or did that did they very much say we're one and done?
I signed, I think, for, if I remember correctly, the original contract called for 5 or 6 sequels. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
And they just never quite came to be.
It's amazing how that happens. It's wild, you know. It really is. Yeah, it's, a lot of times there's no rhyme or reason. You know, it is what it is. And I was just a little shocked that Steven didn't do it. Neil didn't do it. Fox didn't do it. Of course, they had it at Fox for, gosh, what, 5, 6 years? And they brought in huge names there back then. John Davis is still attached, but Matthew Vaughn, are you kidding? I believe Matthew is still attached. I mean, we're talking some huge names right here.
Yeah, Matthew Vaughn, he done the Kingsman movies, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally just reviewed The King's Man. It was a good film. I really enjoyed it, you know.
Yeah.
No, he's got the right kind of sensibilities to do stuff like this. I think he could make it a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other thing I was surprised about, we've not seen you in a Marvel movie, because honestly, it feels like there's so many opportunities there, man. It would have been great.
It would be cool. I never force anything on anybody. All I can tell you is that, do I want to do something like that? Absolutely. It would be a big blessing for me. And I know for a fact, and this is not arrogant or pride, this is just, I know that what I bring to the table, I would be a huge blessing to a project like that. I don't know if it's because it's Marvel, then it's DC. And remember, Flash Gordon is its own entity. It's owned by Hearst Entertainment, Hearst Entertainment King Features. So maybe if we can get some of the leadership to start thinking outside the box and not worry so much about taking a gigantic piece of the pie and maybe split it up a little bit with, a King Features, Hearst Entertainment, or do that, or just bring me in as Sam J. Jones wearing a red tank top, and then you don't have to go through any licensing issues.
That's it. I honestly, man, like they've got all the outer space stuff with the Guardians of the Galaxy. They could absolutely have them go to the planet Mongo where Flash Gordon's at. You know, and there you are. You're just ready to rock, man. That'd be awesome. If there's anyone from Marvel, make this happen.
Oh, it'll be fun. It'll be so much fun, really. Yeah.
But I was going to ask you as well, because obviously you've done a huge number of shows and movies and stuff. The thing I caught you in, and it was weird because I just happened to be watching this episode of Stargate where you were in it, and you were playing a sort of bounty hunter, mercenary type character.
Right.
And I remember looking at you, it's like, man, that guy looks familiar. I just can't quite place him, because obviously you cut your hair short and stuff, so you didn't look like you did in Flash Gordon.
Right.
And then the credits came up at the end, and it was like Sam Jones. I was like, I knew it was him. Damn it! But that was so cool though, because like you got to play a really cool character in that show, who always has the upper hand in everything. He's kind of always got a plan. He's always one step ahead of everyone else, even the heroes of the show, which was really different and weird at the time.
Yeah, it was a great show. Probably one of the most difficult guest spots I've ever done in my life. I love to improvise, and they have their own way of doing things, their own language, almost their own dialect. And so for me, it was extremely difficult. I learned a big lesson on that show, that even when you think that you're prepared, you better take it to another level and be prepared. And thank God, I think Michael was the producer, that he took me to the side and explained that to me about their language, the way they do things. And yeah, so we adapt. And but yeah, that was an incredible experience. Everybody was really good to me, patient with me as well. And it really, I mean, the fans loved it, absolutely loved it. And again, what you said, half the fans didn't even know, or the public didn't even know that it was me. I think maybe a third or a little bit less had the mask on. I think on camera I had a mask on at one point, but when it finally came off, yeah. And it's kind of cool what makeup did. I've got these existing scars from my Harley days. I still ride a Harley, by the way, but I used to compete in martial arts, so I've got a big scar here, and I got a big scar here, which actually happened during the filming, right before the filming of Flash Gordon. But anyway, so makeup took this scar and extended it up my head, and then they took this scar and they extended it up my cheek, so which was kind of cool,
Yeah.
And that gave me, I think, a really cool look.
Nice.
Battle hardened warrior.
Yeah, well, as Evel Knievel said, chicks dig scars. So yeah, go for it, man. That's brilliant. No, it was great. And was there ever an opportunity to come back, or was that just like a one-off kind of character for you and for the Stargate guys?
Yeah, I believe it was just one-off, and it's yeah, I loved it. Great show.
No, I'm a real fan of it, and man, that thing ran for like 10 seasons. It was crazy, like crazy successful.
And and one of my favorite places in the world, probably top 3, Vancouver, Canada. Just it's all there, Will. You've got the sun, the ocean, the mountains, the snow, cool air. You got rain too, and then you got those incredible forests. With those. It doesn't even look. It looks like a different planet. Those trees with that green moss. It looks as though you're on a different planet. So I love the people of Vancouver, and I think I've worked there. I believe about 6 projects in Vancouver, Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. The other thing I really wanted to talk to you about was, obviously you did a whole lot of movies in your career. You've done lots of TV appearances, and then all of a sudden along comes this movie about a teddy bear that can talk, and suddenly you've been cast in it as yourself. Obviously, the main character is like a huge fan of Flash Gordon, and then suddenly there you are, and damn, like how on earth did that come about? Like how did you hear about this? How did they get in touch with you about it?
Well, he called me. And this is a very good point for you younger men that are listening, even older men. But I always tell people, you hear a lot of athletes. I've heard certain football, UK football players and American football players and athletes say, "Oh, I'm not a role model. I'm not a role model." Well, let me tell you something, buddy. Whether you want to be or not, if you're in the public eye, if you're a public figure, you are a role model, whether you like it or not. So I always tell people, don't walk on eggshells, but be very careful. Protect your speech and protect your behavior. But don't have to kowtow and quiver to try to meet somebody else's needs. It's got to be on the up and up. So what's my whole point for saying this is, here's a young man at the age of 8 years old who goes to the movie theater to see Flash Gordon. He walks out of that movie theater and he said, I'm going to be like this guy. I want to be like Sam J. Jones. I want to be like Flash Gordon. And if I can't be exactly like him, but because of him, I'm going to be a creative person. Well, that young 8-year-old grew up to be a decision maker in Hollywood by the name of Seth Macfarlane. And I got a call from him, Will. And it's just that simple, okay? I influenced his life. And then, what is that? I don't know what the math is because he called me 11 years ago. So 30 plus years later, he called me to say, hey, I'm doing this franchise about a cute little teddy bear. It's got a strong Flash Gordon theme, so I want to bring you in. So that's the story. This is the analogy. This is the example. So men, okay, let's protect our words. Let's protect our behavior because guess what's going to happen? Here I am in my late 60s. I am going to continue to get phone calls in my 90s because I'm still working. I'm still impacting and influencing the youth out there. And you need to do the same thing and not worry about what certain people tell you. Oh, you need to do this for your image. Oh, you need to do that. No, you just need to keep it real. Young men, you need to just keep it real and just be, put into action the God-given gifts that he's given you and just keep it real. And remember, wherever you go, and I tell this to everybody, when I leave America, well, when I go to America, I'm coming to the UK next month, right? I'm not only an ambassador and representing America, I'm representing my industry as a film actor. So these are the kind of things. I don't care what the new thought is or the new fad. This is the way it has to be. Wherever we go, we are representatives and ambassadors of our country and of our industry. So we need to keep that in check at all times.
I honestly, man, I'd love to hear that attitude. Honestly, it seems like you've got a great perspective on what it is to be an actor and what it is to be in this industry. And just and taking it seriously, the fact that there's a lot of people that have that been fans of your work for a long time, and they kind of look up to you, and you're not there to lecture them or anything, but you're there to just try and set a good example for people. That's particularly now, when you get a lot of less pleasant stories coming out of Hollywood. Like, it's just great to hear stuff like that from you.
Yeah. And I get people now, and even to take it to another level, I get stories. We hear stories. The fans come to my table, and the last couple of years, you know how you always hear, "Hey, you changed my life, man. You saved my life." And because I was so impatient in my mind, I was saying, yeah, okay, yeah. Is this a long story or a short story, right? Which I had to put that in check, by the way. In other words, just listen, okay? So I started hearing stories. I always have my sunglasses next to me, not because it's a Hollywood thing to do, but because of a story like this. So the first time, it's happened 6 times. The first time it happened to me, here's this young man who is in his 40s, beautiful wife, 3 kids, and he's at my table. And he came up in front, away from the line because the line is back a little bit. And I could tell he wanted to talk to me. So he waited at the right time, and he kind of told his wife and 3 kids to go away in a good way. And I knew he was about to share something with me that he has not even shared with his wife or his children. And he turned to me and he said, Sam, he said, when I was 12 years old, I heard this voice. That's why I talk about voices. Well, I heard this voice in my head say, go into my bedroom and commit suicide. Take your life. He said, I was raised, my parents were extremely abusive. So this voice told me, go in the bedroom and commit suicide. And right as I was about ready to commit suicide, I get emotional talking about this. He said, this other voice said to me, hey, before you do that, this is back during the VHS days. He said, put that Put that tape, that VHS tape of that, that superhero guy, that Flash Gordon guy. Put that tape in and watch it. He said, Sam, after I watched your movie again, Flash Gordon, you not only gave me hope to live, you gave me value as a human being. Woo! And that's, of course, when the sunglasses come on because the tears are rolling down the cheeks. And so, yes, these are the stories, man. We're in a position to save lives. Imagine if I was an ass, okay, and was known. Now, I will say this just for, I can't think of the term, but just to keep things truthful, I have been pretty abrasive to people. Matter of fact, one promoter in the UK, he and I bumped heads a little bit. It's probably my fault, I have bumped heads a lot and called people out, not just to bump heads as a bully, but to call them out that you were wrong about that. And anyway, so I am known sometimes to be a bit abrasive, but most of the time we just got to back off and be patient and listen. But we're in a position to not only help people, but to save. Imagine if I'd been an ass and I treated people, nasty and bitter, and angry. Well, guess what? That person, that person in front of me, he wouldn't be alive. Because he would have put on another tape, whatever, of somebody that was not a good person, let's say, okay, that didn't impact him, that didn't influence him the right way at that right time. So it's very, very important, Will, that we, again, and I'm not talking about walking on eggshells because I'm not perfect. We're not perfect. It's just, this lady asked me one time at the Comic-Con, she said, Sam, what is your quote in life? What's your quote? I said, wow, you mean to help people? She said, yeah. And I said, well, that's easy. She said, what is it? I said, if not you, then who? If not me, then who? In other words, the good Lord puts people in our lives, Will. Okay. And if you see somebody who's hungry, he needs a coat. I'm not saying, move him into your house and all that stuff. I'm just saying, buy him a sandwich, get him something. And then that other voice says, oh, somebody else would take care of them. Somebody else. Oh, no. If not you, Will, then who? If not me, then who's it going to be? So it is us. So at that opportune time, we need to get rid of this stuff in our heads that we can't even see what's going on around us. And so that's it. There's a lot of, as you know, I'm preaching to the choir. There's a lot of hurting people right now. And we need to be available. Sometimes, sometimes we don't even need to say a word. Maybe just give them a big old hug. And if they're being a little bit nasty, well, I like to hug the guys anyway until I hear a few bones,
And you can do that too as well.
No, that's all it takes is just a, hey, how you doing sometimes. That's it. Just acknowledgement. That's all we need. That's all we need to do. And
no, I agree. And it's something I'm aware of. Obviously, I'm not a movie star or anything like that, but people contact me all the time. They want to hear my opinion on something. They just want to say hi. They want to get my advice on something like that. And I'm always aware of, if I was to just ignore that or just be really short and abrupt with them, they're going to go away from that thinking, man, I had a chance to talk to the drinker and he was a total dick. And
what do you think? He's a drinker.
Yeah, but that's I guess not what I want people to think of me when they deal with me one-to-one, because people have taken the time out of their day to contact me and ask me a question or whatever. And as much as I possibly can, I'll always try and respond to it, because I'm very aware. If I tried to get in touch with someone, they ignored me or they just told me to piss off or whatever,
Right.
I would come away from that feeling really bad. I put myself out there and that person just blew me off, and that sucks.
Yeah.
And so I never want to be that guy who does that to another person. And as much as I can anyway. But yeah, I totally get where you're coming from there. There's going to be people that, like you say, who have watched things like Flash Gordon and just become big fans of it. It's meant a lot to them. And when they get that opportunity to speak to you, that's a huge deal for them. And so you feel that kind of responsibility to
Oh
be
yeah,
good to them and treat them good and be nice and
absolutely,
respectful.
absolutely. Yeah, that's and the fans, and you can't fool the fans. They know. I'm one of the few actors who tells the truth about why I do Comic Cons and conventions, and I do it for three reasons. I do it, number one, to please the fans. Number two, to please the promoter, the owner, the organizer, and number three, to generate provision for me and my family. That's what I do, and the fans can determine immediately if you're there just for the provision only. They can figure that out immediately. They want to know. Look, I'm coming to Wales, like I told you. Wales Comic Con, April 2nd and 3rd, right? Okay. Well, these fans, most of them are coming from the UK, but I guarantee you, some are flying in from Germany and other places because they've not been able, especially in the UK and Europe, right? They've not been outside in a while. So it's up to us. They are spending their time and their money. They've been saving their money to come meet us. And by golly, we better pay homage and respect to the fans that are coming to see us when they have a lot of other choices to go visit other actors, celebrities, or whatever. So yeah, it's we have to respect that.
Absolutely. It's the same mindset that I have when I'm making my videos that I put out on YouTube. The way I look at it is like people have been generous enough to give me their time to
Yeah,
watch my stuff that I've made. And so I feel obliged to make it as short as it can be and as punchy as it can be and as interesting as I can make it, because they're giving up the one thing that you can't get back is time.
mhm.
And so I never want to waste people's time with stuff that's just filler. And so
Yeah,
that's what I always try to do. And like you say, it's the same with fans that have made the effort to come and see you. They might have traveled from overseas to come to a con where you're at. Like
yeah.
they've given up their valuable time and effort and money to come and get you, to come and speak to you. And so yeah, you feel that desire to make it worth their while, I guess. And it's such a good attitude to have. And I'm just yes, it's great that you feel that way.
Oh, it's wonderful. It
There's so
encourages.
much love for you in the chat, by the way. I'm just bringing this up. Like this
Oh,
is
good.
yeah, Sam J. Jones, legend.
Holy disillusion. What does that say? Holy disillusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or not.
Yeah. There's
I
there,
missed
there's
out that word. It's not dissolution. Dissolution, right? I didn't have my. I couldn't see it.
yeah.
Holy,
What was this?
holy
Yeah.
no.
But no, it's great. And like we were talking about when we mentioned Ted earlier. I love the way you played it, because I always assumed, because you keep getting referenced throughout the movie, the main character is a big fan of Flash Gordon and he wants to meet him. I assumed you were going to be like a red herring. Like he keeps thinking you're going to be at this place and he goes to get there and you're not there and he keeps missing you or whatever. But then it happens and like straight away you're into the Flash Gordon like uniform and stuff, and then the Queen music plays and there's this great montage where like Mark Wahlberg is just hanging off you on like the rocket cycle and stuff. It's so cool looking. It's like exactly what you would want to see in a film like that. I love that they went all the way with it. It was so good.
Oh, they did. Yeah. And Wahlberg is such a great guy. He's such a humble man. Humility is another thing for me. I don't know of any greater strength or power in the world, really, than knowing who you are, knowing where you're going. But for me, it just can't be all about the flesh. I really call it walking in a godly authority, knowing who you are, walking in a godly authority, and seasoned with humility. I don't know of any greater power than that. I'm serious. It's amazing. And Wahlberg has that. Wahlberg has that humility and that authority. And again, on the set, he was a real giver, and it was wonderful. And Seth Macfarlane created gosh, and it was a huge budget. Usually huge budgets, there's stress and anxiety going around, but Macfarlane created this anxiety-free set, a fun set on a huge budget.
Seth MacFarlane, just an awesome dude. Like, I know he's done a lot of work on like the Orville, and that's like his own take on Star Trek, and just awesome. Like, this guy obviously has such a passion for all these different genres, and he really knows his older movies and stuff. And yeah, I think it speaks very well of him that he's got that respect for what came before. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, very creative. When he called me to say, "Hey, I'm doing this TED series franchise about a cute little bear," and I said, "Oh, okay." And I said, and I said, "Who are you again?" I knew he was from the Family Guy and all that, but he said, "You really influenced my life." And I said, "Well, Seth, you grew up to be, yes, a creative force, but also kind of perverted. I hope I had nothing to do with that." Okay.
I love how, like, when you do appear, your first lines to Mark Wahlberg are, do you guys like to party? And when you're in that house party with them. I mean, I say you, I mean your character, obviously.
Yeah.
You're like, "Boys, we're gonna party like it's the '80s," and Ted's like, "Well, how do we do it?" And it's like, "It's easy. We just have to nail a bunch of girls named Stephanie." And I love how you delivered that line. It was so just so laid back and so easy.
only he could create something like that.
That was great.
A lot of that came natural to him because of him growing up, with the film Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So hopefully one day we'll do TED 3,
Yeah. Oh man, I would honestly love to see that because I really like TED 2 as well. I thought it was a good follow up. You got a great part in that. You were like a minister at the wedding. That was great. It was great that they brought you back for that.
And what do you think some of the requests are now? They want me, some of the fans want me to marry them in real life. I'm not making this up.
Oh, do it. That'd be so cool.
I said, I believe in God, but I'm not, I can't marry you. I mean, and I said, and why would you want me to marry you? Don't you? I mean, don't you want a judge to make it legal? And don't you want a priest or a pastor to make it right? I mean, to me, it's comedic. I said, why don't you just play, a song from the soundtrack or something I'm not licensed to marry anybody.
That is a shame.
And then I asked him this. I said, but wait a minute. It's all about your bride. It's about you, the groom, as well, but it's all about the bride. So why would you want to take away, if you had me at your wedding, wouldn't that diminish your bride a little bit? I want them to think this through. Oh, but we're going to pay you a lot of money. Okay, I get this. I said, you're going to pay me a lot of money. I said, well, save your money, okay? I said, save your money for your wedding and for your future. And but I had one guy from Kentucky. He was great. And when you listen, when the fans speak, you're getting the real deal, okay? Unless this guy was just an incredible actor and he pulled my leg. I don't know how he got my number. He got my number. It was wild. He was a good old boy from Kentucky. Hey, Gordon, I'm going to get married, and I got a budget for you, and I want to spend that budget bringing Flash Gordon into Kentucky to marry me and my bride. And I just said, I went with it. Well, I said, well, how much is in your budget? He said, I got $250.
I thought you were going to say 250K there. I was like, oh, that's probably worth it.
This up, and I thought, well, I said, no. I said, save your money. Okay. I said, save your money, because if you got $250 to spend on me, you're going to need that money for your bride. Okay. I get some, then I had someone who offered me a ton of money, huge amount of money. But I said, no, I said, make it about your bride, make it about your bride. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. I guess though, like, Ted, having brought Flash Gordon and yourself back into like the sort of public consciousness through those films, I guess it really helped in terms of like bringing in a whole new generation of fans who maybe wasn't too familiar with Flash Gordon back in the day, and it's like, oh, I'll go and check out this movie because it's so referenced in the film.
Yeah.
I'll see what it's like. And it's like suddenly like they're fans of it now as well. Like, do you find a little bit of that? It's like, I found you because of Ted,
Oh, you mean the fan? Oh, yes. Well, you're talking about this, especially the younger age demographic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I always had, my age group and a little bit younger, because that's what Flash Gordon, came out. We filmed it 43 years ago. But that's what Ted did well. It because of the younger crowd, especially the younger crowd who had never seen Flash Gordon. But Queen, the music of Queen attracted them. And yes, so that added, when they finally saw the movie, that added that younger age demographic to my fan base. And even the fans, the younger fans who are trying to remember the name of Flash Gordon, they can't think of the name. What's the name of that superhero guy, that movie?
Yeah.
They always reference, the movie that Queen did the soundtrack to. So Queen not only, it not only complimented Flash Gordon, it brought great value to the film Flash Gordon. Absolutely.
No, it's great. I love the idea of like different generations just rediscovering these older movies and going like, oh man, this movie was cool as fuck. I love it. And that's I guess that's what you get. And I've kind of talked about this in my channel. Like, there's a lot of movies from back in the 80s that have just got charm. They've got so much. You can tell that a lot of love went into them and a lot of care and a lot of thought. Like, because it's all, it was the time before CGI and everything was practical effects. And,
right.
People just had to make this stuff through their own imagination. And I feel like movies today won't hold up as well as that. Like 30, 40 years from now, people won't be looking back on films like Black Widow or Captain Marvel and saying like, oh wow, that's such a cult classic, we love it now. But like, I think Flash Gordon and other films like that, like Big Trouble in Little China, is one that I'd probably put in the same category. Like, just a fun movie. Yeah.
How about Escape from New York? Yeah, come on, man.
And correct me if I'm wrong, by the way, you beat him and Arnold Schwarzenegger out to get the role of Flash Gordon.
Yeah, that's what I was told. But as far as eyes on, my knowledge at the time, remember, Dino was very confidential, very non-disclosure. I remember many times, I before they flew me to London to screen test, many times in the States interviews, I think I met with him maybe 4 times before, maybe 5. And I was always told, make sure you go in this door and you're going to exit that door. Make sure you park in that parking lot, not that one. So I'm thinking at the same time, he was obviously interviewing these other actors, and, didn't want us to, for some reason, didn't want us to know who was who and who was up for it, which didn't bother me. None of that stuff ever. I guess maybe being a Marine, I never, and it was a good thing. In the early years, even now, I never, anytime, because back then it's a little bit different now. If we do an audition, we just pick up our iPhone here and do the audition here. But back then we'd always have to show up at an office, a casting director's office, and a big lobby area. I'd walk in, 70s, 80s, some of the 90s. And there'll be 20, 25 guys. We all look alike, same age. We all look alike, right? But I knew that, okay, they're going to choose one of these actors here. But I never looked at the other 24 guys as my competition. Not an arrogant statement. I just thought in my mind, in my heart, oh, well, if they want Sam J. Jones, they want Sam J. Jones. If they don't, they'll get one of these guys. Matter of fact, I share this a lot about Hercules, about Kevin Sorbo, a buddy of mine, great golfer, by the way. What he did is I went in for the television audition for Hercules, okay? And there were 20, like I said, 25 guys there. And all of a sudden, I'd never met Kevin Sorbo before. And all of a sudden, I saw this guy walk in with the long hair, fit, and I went, oh, there's your Hercules. There's your Hercules. If I'm casting Hercules, that's the guy. So guess who got the part of Hercules?
Yeah.
Just that simple, So I didn't sit there and go, well, why didn't they get me? I mean, you should have got me. No, there is your Hercules. So just like they said, there is your Flash Gordon. It's just that simple. I oversimplify and try to keep things that simple,
And no, but I think you're very right. Like the worst thing you can do in life is start comparing yourself to other people and saying like, well, he's better at this, I'm better at that, whatever. And like before you know it, all you're thinking about is that other guy. Whereas if you just think about yourself and just think, right, I'm going to do the best job I can do.
Yeah.
And if I've done my best and it's not good enough, fine. It doesn't matter. I've done my best and I can feel good about that. But yeah, if you start thinking like, well, would he have done this a different way? Would this other guy have done better in this regard, or I would have done better here? That's when you've sabotaged yourself, because all of a sudden you're making it about someone else. So I totally get where you're coming from there.
It's wrong thinking. As a matter of fact, I've written a TV series, and one of the lines I use over and over again is, I'll give you a chance to think. I'll give you a chance to change your thinking.
Yeah.
No, it's really, we either make right choices or wrong choices. So, yeah.
I agree. There's a question here that came in. Sam, tell the eye contact story. I don't know if that's relevant to you.
The what? The eye contact. Oh, wait a minute. Tell the eye contact story? Yeah. Well, that happened twice. Now, is this Pam Dalber, or is this I get two great lessons I learned about eye contact. One is with Pam Dalber. We did a television movie together. And the other one was I did this movie called The Silent Natural. So can they identify which one they're talking about? And
so I'll ask them. So it came from the radio. Which one are you referring to here? And I'll see what they say.
Okay, well, I'll just tell both stories. Well,
okay.
Pam Dalber, Pam Dalber, she had I can't think of the series she had, but she's married to Mark Harmon, but incredible actress, incredible lady. And she taught me. She, when we were doing a scene together, I don't know, maybe I was filling my mind with wrong thinking and was thinking about buying a new car, whatever it was back then, having a young, immature mind. And I wasn't connecting with her in the scene. And Pam Dalber looked at me and she said, Sam, if you look in my eyes, maybe it'll help us both a little bit better. I said, I'm so sorry. You're right. So that was the first time. I think that was the late 80s or the early 90s. And then I did this movie called The Silent Natural. Incredible true story about the first deaf Major League Baseball player in America in the late 1800s. And so this was a couple years ago. I'm in Kentucky. Okay, we like Kentucky. I also have a son playing baseball, college baseball in Kentucky right now. But anyway, I'm doing this movie, and they actually hired a real deaf actor. And there were a lot of deaf actors on the set and interpreters. Some of the interpreters can speak, some couldn't. Some of the actors can speak, some couldn't, but a lot of sign language. But what I learned, and I think this is what this person is getting at, is when deaf people, when a person that can't hear is communicating with you and I, Will, okay, their eye contact is off the charts because there's no room for error. You understand what I'm saying? So when they look at you and they look at me or anybody, they're looking right through to our souls, man. They're looking through to our souls. And I learned so much, man. I learned so much from them. And then the one lead actor, he was great. He would ask the interpreter. I asked the interpreter, how do I sign good? You know, this is good. This is bad. Okay. Bad, good. Right. So he'd always ask me at the end of the scene, you know, he went like this. He'd say, you know, basically, how was I, Sam? How did I do? So I turned to him at the end of each scene and I would say, bad. But and thank you for that listener that brought that up. Eye contact. So eye contact is so important with all of us. All of us. We need to see. We need to look into each other's eyes so we could see their soul. And I mean that. That's not some weirdo. You can get a lot. You can learn a lot about a person just by looking at their eyes, whether they speak or don't speak.
No, I agree. And it's interesting when a person won't hold eye contact with you. It always makes me think, what are they thinking? What are they hiding from me? Because they're not comfortable looking at me.
Yeah, or they just escaped from. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many great comments coming here. So like younger guys saying, I'm 24 and my girlfriend and I just watched Flash Gordon for the first time. We loved it. It was so fun and beautiful.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, man, there's great, death to Ming. There's a what we get when we do these live streams is there's super chats that come in. So it's people that have sort of paid to ask a question. And if it's okay with you, if you've got a little bit of time, maybe I could put a few of them to you.
Oh, yeah, whatever you want to. I heard you have a few followers, like 10 or 12 followers on your site, right?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, I mean, I get by. I've got a few people that watch me.
I heard it's up in the millions. That's incredible, man.
Yeah, I got like a million now, so I'm pretty pleased about that.
Man. That's good for you. That's incredible.
I mean, all I do is I just talk about films. You know, I like movies, and it's great. It's great fun to talk about them. And one of the great things that comes out of that is that I get to have people like yourself on, and get to meet people that I've been fans of for a long time. So man, it's a real privilege.
Good.
So yeah, let me see if I can bring up a few, like see if there's questions for yourself and what I can do here. So give me 1 second here while I do that. All right. So first one here is from Ghost in the Craig. He said, "Hey Sam, my name's Craig. It's been a while, but I worked a couple of random small and large Comic Cons that you attended. I ran a framed collectibles booth with Tony and Gil. I was the black guy. Anyway, you are awesome and good to have you on the stream."
You said Greg, right? Greg or Craig?
Craig.
Craig, yeah, with the frames, right? Yeah. Now he was at. He was also. I think he was at Birmingham and Manchester as well. Is that correct?
I don't know just from the stream, but I assume so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Very few have the frames, so yeah. I vaguely remember you.
Well, there's another one from him here. He's saying, it's Craig again. I want to say we had lunch a few times discussing how small some of those cons were and their low attendance. Regardless of memory, it was a pleasure to meet with you. Kudos on this one, Drinker.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, great. Great to hear from you. And Craig, I expect you to be at Wales Comic Con April 2nd and 3rd.
There we go. Perfect. The Uber Geek says, I remember when you played a bounty hunter on Stargate SG-1. How did that experience differ from doing something like Ted, for example?
I had a lot more freedom doing Ted and Ted 2, a lot more freedom. I love to improvise. I was talking about earlier. SG-1 was more, they have their own language, their own way of doing things. And I had to adapt. It was a challenge for me, but yeah, it was. So the only difference was I love to improvise, so there's a lot more freedom with that. But with SG1, no, this is the way it is. So yeah, I had to adapt to that.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. Yeah.
The Grand Muff Twerkin says, "What was it like working with Max von Sydow?"
The Grand Muff Twerkin. Oh my God. Oh,
He's got his sunglasses on and everything.
No, Max is great. He was, wonderful human being. He was my mentor, on the set, and I just loved working with him. And I think he'd already been in the business. I think he was probably 50. Well, yeah, he was I think late 40s at the time. And he taught me also about, he isolated himself when it came time to, when work was over. He went back to a cottage, not a hotel room where there was a lot of partying going on. He went back to a cottage outside of London. I remember that. That's where he stayed, where he could just focus on the work. And you'll find a lot of successful actors. It's all about preparation. It's not so much about the Hollywood or the British equity thing, all that's good. It's all about professionalism and having fun, just being prepared. I mean, the worst thing you could do is walk on a set and not be prepared. And that happened a little bit to me on SG1. Thought I was prepared, but because of the way they did things, they taught me. I learned. I was teachable. Thank God, I still am. And it never happened again. And here's the teachable moment for any actors out there or anybody who's preparing for anything. We rehearse our lines, and we usually do it one way, two ways, three ways, whatever. We go, okay, we got it. Yeah, I can memorize my lines. Well, just when you think you do, okay, how about if I hang you upside down from a tree, right? And I'm throwing little pebbles at your face while you're talking. Do you think you would remember your lines there? That's exactly what I learned on SG1. They didn't hang me from a tree upside down and throw little rocks and pebbles at my face while I was talking. But that's the analogy that the producer used. And you know what? He was 100% right when he told me, if I did this to you right now, hung you upside down, threw stuff at your face, you should know your lines, period. And he's right. And from that time on, that was the year 2000, because that's when we filmed it. I never again had an issue with my lines. So
it's great that they had that work ethic on a show like that, because you almost think with a long-running sci-fi show, they just become a little bit relaxed, a little bit complacent. And with SG1, maybe that speaks to how successful it was. They were so focused on the best performance they could get, the attention to detail, everyone knowing their lines, everyone being able to do their jobs properly. And that's why the show kept going for so long.
And nowadays, Will, it's even to a greater degree of preparation. What I mean by that, because they're doing the digital, right? So you don't need all this with film. You got to make sure that lighting is. Oh, you there? I just lost you. You still there, Will?
Yeah. No, I'm just here.
Nowadays, because of the formats and the resources you have to work with, you don't need to worry about a whole lot of lighting. So what they're doing in a scene, they'll take all the actors, all 8 of them, and they'll use a steady cam. Hello, listen to me carefully. It's one shot. It could take a minute. It could take 5-6 minutes, okay? But it's one continuous shot, which takes a lot of preparation. 8 actors in there. So guess what? You had better not mess up. You had better not forget your line, because this is one take. They're not coming in to do any coverage. They're not coming back in to do your close-up or their close-ups. This is it. One-time take on a steady cam, 8 actors. And so nowadays, you think you're prepared? No, you really need to be prepared.
That is one of the things that I don't know, always struck me about being in any film or any production or anything. Like when you've got like a long scene that's got a lot of say a lot of pyrotechnics or a lot of special effects or whatever in it, and your role in it is just to hit your mark, is to get your line right or whatever. And if you screw it up, then that whole thing has to be done again. I don't know, man. The pressure that must be on you in that moment must be huge.
Well, again, let's keep it simple: preparation and listening. Okay, listening. Forget about what you think is going on. Forget about what just happened. Thinking right now. Okay, I'm sorry, listening right now. What did the director just say to me? Okay, he changed something. Okay, did I really hear him, or did I just shake my head? Yeah, because I'm so prepared right now to do what I want to do that I can't think outside the box, that I'm so blocked in. No, we got to be freed up from that. Listen, there's new direction spoken to you, so put it into action. And good advice, and don't worry about pissing people off. If you don't understand what somebody's saying in any format, any industry, if you don't understand what they're saying, you better ask. You better ask. And don't worry about being embarrassed, okay? And if they laugh at you for asking, then they have a problem, you don't. So always make sure you understand exactly what they're saying, exactly what the direction is, and then do what you're told to do. And you can ask, well, now, can I get a little creative here too, Mr. Director? Can I improvise a lot with that can I improvise a little bit with that new direction you just gave me? If he says, yeah, go for it. If not, just do what you're told to do. It's just that simple. Oversimplify. Yeah, I cannot stress this enough. Keep it so simple. Okay? Don't complicate things.
Yeah. The next one is from Chucksenhausen. He said, I've got to ask Mr. Flash, how legendary would it be if you made a guest appearance on a show like Cobra Kai and have a fight scene? Discount Stingray out.
I'd love to, because my buddy Marty Cove, right? He was actually up for Flash Gordon. And I tease him.
Oh, man, you're friends with Martin Cove. That's so cool.
I tease him about this because here we are, 1979. They flew me to London for screen test. I'm there for 30 days, screen testing. And for you youngsters who don't know what that means, remember, we didn't have video back then. So if you wanted to test an actor, we're talking about, you got to roll film. What does it mean to roll film? You got to have all the departments. You got to have wardrobe, makeup, hair, lighting department, electrical department. This is a big deal. So 30 days of screen testing. And both Marty was told not to discuss why he was in London. I was told the same thing. When you're out. Now, I had not met Marty before. Here I am at Hyde Park, early 1979. I'm exercising at Hyde Park, running. And I see this guy. I know him from America. I didn't know him, but I knew he was famous for this Irish Spring soap commercial. Here he was in the shower washing with Irish Spring. Irish dialect, and he was the Irish Spring guy. So here I am running, and Marty was running, and I turned to him, hey, you're the Irish Spring guy. What are you doing? What are you doing at Hyde Park? He said, nothing, just exercising. He was actually there screen testing for Flash Gordon. I'd never live it down to this day.
Man, what a weird movie that would have been if Marty Cove had been Flash Gordon. But
he would have brought a different light to it,
No, absolutely. No, he found his calling in the Karate Kid movies. Yeah, sure. I know he was in Rambo 2 as well, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But what I love, and I've said this before, is that when they did something like Cobra Kai, they took a movie from 30 years ago and they suddenly updated it to the present day. They made it funny, they made it relevant, they took the characters in new directions, but they stayed true to who they were originally. And I think that show is such a good example of how you bring something up to date, but keep it relevant to what it was before. And it's great to see him back, because I swear he has not aged in like 30 years. He looks exactly like he did back in the 80s. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I see him quite a bit at some of the Comic Cons. Yeah, he's got a big following there, especially with the new show. Everything.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to get you. We need to get you in a Marvel movie and in Cobra Kai. That would
There
be
you go, man.
awesome.
Let's do it.
The next one is from RRTNZ. He said, "Hail Drinker and Flash. Love Flash Gordon since I saw it back in 1980. I have to ask, what was the best thing about working on that film, besides people singing, 'Flash, Savior of the Universe'?
Yeah.
Wherever you go. Cheers."
Oh, I think the best thing, really getting to meet the English people. I never really been to England, never really spent time, and just obviously it was my first leading role, and I knew it was iconic, the character of Flash Gordon, but the fact working in a different country, which I loved, and my wife and I often talk about if we had to move to a different country for work or whatever, for an extended period of time, it would be the UK. It'd be England. I wouldn't mind having a place up in Scotland too. But yeah, it was just the whole experience, because remember, I was there for, I want to say almost, I think 5.5 months, almost 6 months. And it was unforgettable, really just unforgettable. I'll never forget it. And how the people were so nice. And listen to this. They put me up in Mayfair, not at my choice. That's just where they had. So, and they were paying something like $1,000 a week or something like that in Mayfair. Number 44 Hill Street is where I lived in London.
I can't believe you remember that.
I had a tree in my freaking living room. Are you kidding me? A tree. Okay. So I went back when I went back to do, I think London, or I think I went back to do Comic-Con there a couple years ago. And I went to number 44 Hill Street, and I called, had the driver call the realtor just to see what that's renting for now. I think it was 25,000 US. I didn't know the pounds, but 25,000 US a week. Okay.
Yeah. London prices have just gone insane.
Yeah.
Like
But,
it's like if you try to live in central New York, that's the kind of prices you're paying now.
Yeah. But one of the cool things is I would run at Hyde Park, to make it more specific about enjoying England. Something memorable was I'd run Hyde Park, and the horses. It's kind of a sad story at the same time, a good story, but a sad story. The horses would always pass me. The horses, law enforcement horses, military.
Yeah.
Okay. They would always pass me, and I'd try to keep up with them, and we'd always say hi every day. And but yeah, those are the ones that were involved in some explosions there way back in '79.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, 1970. So that was kind of a bitter, a good but a bitter deal, because I knew some of those guys. And but yeah, we just everybody opened their arms, and I'm talking about most of the people I met did not know. Well, I should say most of the people I worked with knew who I was, Flash Gordon. But aside from the movie set, nobody knew who I was in England. And it wasn't just London. I was all over the place. L Street, we were up at Brooklyn Weybridge. We went to the Isle of Skye in Scotland. And nobody knew who I was. And I just took off on my own sometimes. And people were so welcoming. We were talking about the Isle of Skye earlier. I remember just taking off on my own and walking into a pub with these old farmers, old men in their 80s, but they were so strong. They taught me how to do darts.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you found a good pub when they do darts there.
Yeah.
You got to be careful where you sit though, because then you'll get some old guy being like, "I've sat in that seat for 40 years."
Oh yeah. Well, no, they said, "Yankee, what are you doing here all by yourself?" I said, "Well, what are you doing?" So I just said, "Well, I'm here working, but I wanted to come out." I didn't tell them what I was doing. I said, "I just wanted to come out, and I heard about darts." And they said, "Okay." They said, "Follow my lead." So they were wonderful, really. I never forget it.
it always for me it always seems strange, like how an American would adapt to being in such a remote place like the Isle of Skye, or just Scotland, like up in the Highlands or whatever. It just seems like it must be a million miles away from like where you grew up and like the life that you knew before.
No, I mean, the only challenging thing was driving, driving on the opposite side, and the
Yeah.
steering wheel was on the other side of the car. But I got to drive. Matter of fact, I drove. I think I drove all the way up to. Isn't that before you get on the ferry? There wasn't. There's a bridge now, but I drove all the way past Loch Ness. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
He said, no, I don't want you driving. I talked my driver into letting me drive. So it's the first time I ever drove on the other side of the street.
Yeah, man, honestly, like the first time I went to America, I went to Florida, and I just got off like an 8-hour flight, so I was tired. It was like 10 o'clock at night. Got in my rental car, off I went, and like an idiot, I just went instinctively on the left side of the road. And I was driving along. I was like, why is that guy flashing his lights at me? And it's like, why is he on the same side of the road as me? Oh, shit, I'm not supposed to be here. Off I went, it takes some getting used to. It really does.
What's even more dangerous is as a pedestrian, you have to remember the cars are coming from the other direction now.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's even more dangerous. That's more dangerous.
No, very much. What's the next one here? I've got another question from Boar Legion. He said, Sam, I loved Flash Gordon ever since I was 5. It's one of my favorite summer flicks to watch every summer, along with Clash of the Titans, Conan the Barbarian, Dragon Slayer, Excalibur, and of course, Star Wars.
Oh my gosh, you watch those back to back? That's amazing. That's amazing. That's pretty cool, man.
I do like Clash of the Titans. That was like the last Ray Harryhausen movie where you had that old stop motion animation. Great stuff. Happy birthday, Polly.
The actor Harry. Harry. Come on, who's the lead actor?
Hamlin.
Harry Hamlin. Yeah, that was kind of cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Polly. He said, cheers, drinker. Another quest to see. Come and see. I'll try and watch that. The Outcast Creative says, I went to see this film on my 4th birthday. Absolutely loved it. Did you see the pics of the Mega Flash Gordon Lego game I sent? It recreates everything from the movie. Yeah, this guy had sent me pictures because apparently someone had made like all of the sets from Flash Gordon, like the big throne room and everything, out of Lego in perfect detail. Yeah, like thousands of Lego bricks. They did it all.
You have those pictures?
I've got them somewhere. They'll be in my email folder. I can't bring them up right now, but yeah, they made all of that.
But you need to send them to me once you find them, please. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I will do. Boar Legion says, Sam, did you get a chance to hang out with any of the Penthouse pets during or after a shooting of the film? I read in my DVD collector's edition that De Laurentiis contacted him and let him borrow some.
Oh, no, I got the first part, but you confused me on the second part. Dino, you asked me about the Penthouse pets. Did I hang out with them? But you lost me on the Dino De Laurentiis thing.
So when he says, because I'm just reading it word for word here with what the guy sent. So he says, I read in my DVD collector's edition that Dino De Laurentiis contacted him and let him borrow some. So I assume he means the Penthouse pets.
Oh, contacted him. Okay. Not me, but somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, I pretty much, I had my girlfriend with me at the time who ended up being my first wife, Lynn. We have two great kids together. I didn't get a whole lot of time to go out and party. When I did, there was a famous club there called Tramp. And when I did go out, because I loved to dance back then, it was always Queen was always hanging out there, but the 2 times I went, Queen was not there. However, I met Rod Stewart, Mick Jagger, Bianca Jagger, and one of your famous boxers, John Conte, and those were some memories back then. But yeah, I didn't get to go out much, because I was up early working out, and then working late, and then as soon as I got back, man, I was exhausted. Yeah.
Yep. Happy birthday, Polly. He says, "Who wants to live forever? Dive." Yeah, great line from.
Will, is it your birthday?
No, my birthday is April 30th. So I got a while yet.
Who are they saying happy birthday to?
No, that's just his name. His username is Happy Birthday Polly. I think it's a little reference to Rocky IV. You know, there's like that stupid robot thing that's in it. Yeah, I think it's talking about that.
Okay.
Unhinged says, "My little Ming is attracted." Oh, okay, fine. Says Nick B said, "Drinkers alive." Yeah, I am for now until my liver packs in, you know. Big K, there's a great line here. He says, "Sam, thanks for savoring every one of us."
There you go. Well, listen, I can bring this up. It didn't occur to me until we started, especially, I don't know why it occurred to me, but there's for all you fans that collect action figures, especially Flash Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
My buddies in England called, just remember this, it's real simple, Big Chief Studios. Big Chief Studios is coming out right now. Right now, it's one of the most incredible action figures, but it's a 12-inch action. It's a high end. It costs a little money, but it's unlike anything you've ever seen. It's one of me and one of Ming the Merciless. But if you go online, Big Chief Studios, I believe you can order it right now. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up.
I'm going to post that right there in the chat because I've seen it. So I've posted the link to it in chat there. And it does actually look brilliant.
It's unbelievable. And you got to spend some money for it. I don't get anything from it. I just want to make that clear. I don't. I waived all the merchandising stuff way back when I signed the contract. So yeah, I was just, there's a couple action figures out this year. There's NECA brought out this really cool vintage one called Defenders of the Earth. It's a 7-inch, which is really cool. And that's a really cool Ming the Merciless too. And then of course there's the 40th anniversary Flash Gordon lunchbox with the 3 3/4 inch. But if you're really looking for a quality high end, is this incredible Big Chief Studio Flash Gordon and Ming the Merciless. You see it. You see it there on your website. It's off the charts, man. All right.
That's no. I put it in the chat, and what I'll do is when I re-upload this, because whenever I do my live streams, I put it on my second channel. I'll put a link to that right there.
Yeah, because I just purchased a whole bunch of them. No, I'm serious. I'm not making this up. No, I did. Seriously. This is going to be for my kids and my grandkids. Are you kidding me?
That's awesome. Like to have an action figure of yourself. That's so cool.
I've got a whole collection of them. Of the other ones, the vintage, the other ones, all that. I got all. I'm going to leave that to the kids and the grandkids. You kidding me? Yeah.
All I've got so far is a plushie, like a little soft toy of the drinker. That's
yeah.
That's all I managed to do. Here's a good question though. Sam, do you have any great outtakes during filming? Is there a cut of that out there somewhere? So, like anywhere, is there outtakes of like when you guys were goofing around on set or whatever, or you blew takes?
Oh, you know what? You mean on Flash Gordon, right?
Yeah.
Remember, video was not. It was invented, but it was only for big broadcast stuff. It wasn't for, the public. We didn't have video. So if there were going to be any outtakes, it would have been captured on film. You know what? That's a great question. No one's ever asked that. We need to inquire. I would think because to develop film back then was so expensive. Mm-hmm. But we need to inquire if they saved any extra footage, outtakes or whatever. Now, I do know there is film. There's a big cassette of film called not outtake. Oh, it's called the Making of Flash Gordon. However, it's still good, but it's more behind the scenes of there's the modelers modeling, the Rocket Ajax. Here's modelers, styrofoam doing the sets, costumer, stuff like that. It's more of that. There may be some of the actors on the making of Flash Gordon. And I think you can get that online, I think. But we need to inquire about where's all that original film? Where's all that original film?
Because I think that'd be great fun to see. Like, it's fun to see actors having a bit of fun behind the scenes. Like sometimes you blow your lines or whatever, you have a bit of a laugh. Like it's good. It's like it just it brings a different sort of side to the production. You get to see people having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm also conscious. Like, obviously, I've had you on for an hour and a half or so. I've obviously got these super chats that I'm working through. I don't want to keep you too long or anything.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. As long as you're fine to keep going, I'm more than happy to keep doing this.
Let's go, man.
All right, cool.
Mick, I may have to get here in a little bit to do this, to do a phoner. I got to do a phone conference call, but go ahead, man. Let's fire away. I'll let you know.
All right, cool. We'll get through a few, and when you have to go, just let me know, and we can finish up. But yeah, it's been great so far. Says Mick Lally says, "Drinker, I love you, but we've only got 14 hours to drain this bottle." Love it. Captain Spire, he said, Sam Jones, I met you in Omaha, Nebraska with that Spock tie of mine. You were fantastic, good sir. Been praying for you and hope you have been doing amazing. God bless and keep being such an encouragement.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I remember it. He's the spotted tie, right?
I think so.
Very few fans wear ties, so yeah, okay. That's great. And thank you for your prayers. I appreciate that. We all need them, especially nowadays. Absolutely.
Giggles Bits said, loved Sam in Flash Gordon and Stargate SG-1. There you go. The KC Surge said, loved Flash Gordon, saw it at the movies as a kid and binged it when cable started showing it in my neighborhood. Such a great movie. You rock, Sam and Drinker. Thank you.
Amen.
Ian Foster said, here's 20 for the plane ticket fund to see the savior of the universe. Awesome. Joshua Levesque says, how's Ted nowadays, Sam? Still a horny teddy bear?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, really put yourself in the shoes of, and you're probably some of them, who the parents showed up at the movie theater with a couple small kids thinking, okay, they advertised it about a cute little teddy bear. sitting there with their 5-year-old and their 7-year-old. And all of a sudden, this nasty little bear comes on and starts talking and doing what he's doing. Well, the parents had to make a decision right then and there. Do I stay and cover their eyes and ears, or do we leave and get our money back? Well, most of the parents stayed, okay? And the kids saw the movie, and they've never been the same afterwards.
It's great. It's such a fun film. Like Ted 1 and 2 honestly had me properly laughing. Yeah. Like great movies. Peppermint said, Flash Gordon, the spirit, driving force, my youth. Yeah, very much. Deaf Mute Studio said, I met Sam once. What a top guy. They say never meet your heroes, but Sam was an absolute pleasure to meet.
Amen.
Boomsday Device said, Princess Aura was freaking gorgeous, and Ming the Merciless, one of the coolest baddie names ever. Yeah, it really was, actually.
Yeah, that was one of the toughest scenes I had to do in life, was the seduction scene with Ornella sitting on my lap. Yeah, I was having...
Man, I feel bad for you. That must have been really tough to shoot that one.
It was only supposed to be there for 45 minutes, but I milked that puppy for 4 hours.
I love the line that you say because I think you've got some kind of weird thing that like connects your thoughts to Dale.
Telekinetics or telecommunication.
Yeah, and like there's a bit where you just go, this girl's really turning me on. Yeah. It's great.
She was wonderful. Yeah, she was.
Ornella, beautiful actress. Yeah, gorgeous. Romathe gave me $20. Thank you very much, man. Speezy said, you haven't lived until you've watched Flash Gordon on mushrooms. Absolutely amazing.
Crazy.
Destiny Captain said, Sam, you were great as the bounty hunter on Stargate SG-1.
Cool.
Adrian Horsley said, Sam J. Jones is Flash Gordon, just like Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker. How does Sam feel about that legacy and the impact that it's had on his life?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part. The what?
So yeah, saying that you are Flash Gordon, just like Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker. How do you feel about the legacy? Sorry, that legacy and the impact that it's had on your life?
I feel wonderful, and the impact has been super positive. You know what's funny? Sometimes we really need to listen to good counsel, good advisors, because in the early years, I had certain representatives, talent agents, managers saying to me, Sam, you need to really, push away from the Flash Gordon image. I said, why? Why? Well, you don't want to get typecast. I said, well, wait a minute. I am who I am. I mean, all of it. I am who I am. I said, I'm not concerned about getting typecast. I said, Flash Gordon has been nothing but a blessing for me. Why would I say, oh, I don't want to talk about Flash Gordon. Oh, let's not go there. No, it's an absolute blessing. And anybody, any young actors whose representatives are telling them that they should, walk away, that they should not discuss the very reason why they are being promoted in life, the very reason why they're having success. It's because of this longevity and this film, Flash Gordon. No, I say to anybody that's being influenced the wrong way, your representation needs to change their thinking. I don't care about popular or public opinion. It means nothing to me. A lot of times it'll get you. You need to go with your gut instinct, and you need to be very appreciative on what has brought you to where you are right now. And you need to be thankful for that, not about somebody who's all they care about is their wallet and their commission and the so-called fad of the time. Yeah, you need to move away from that. And I should have moved away a little bit earlier in my life, but it's okay. And let me share one more thing with the young people out there. Even you don't have to be young; you could be my age or even a little bit younger. But you have to remember, no matter what industry we're in, we're talking Hollywood right now, but it doesn't matter. The people that represent you, okay, they work for you. You do not work for them. So you have final say-so on every decision in your life. I don't care how good they are. I don't care how many millions or billions they brought to the table. That's all good. That's all dandy. Bottom line is, you're the one who's accountable and responsible for your life right now and your future, not them, because they will always say, well, yeah, it's not on them. So, you need to know that they work for you and you have final say-so, bottom line.
It's really interesting to hear you say that, because I feel like there's so many actors nowadays who they say whatever they think is popular at the time.
Yeah.
Whether it's weighing in on political issues or social issues or whatever. You always get the impression that they don't really believe it or care about any of it, but they're saying it because they think it's going to make them popular.
Yeah.
And it's not people being true to themselves, and it's
Right.
frustrating to see.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's great to hear from people like yourself who are just saying, no, just go with your gut, stay true to who you are and what your principles are.
Yeah. And I want to, talking about political statements, I want to say this as in the human condition, because I have friends in the Ukraine. So this is not a political statement. This is just as human as you can get. I want everybody praying and believing for divine intervention in the Ukraine right now. And that also the leadership in Russia will be humbled. Okay. That's the simple prayer, guys. Okay. 2 little prayers. Okay. Divine intervention on behalf of the Ukrainian people, and of course, humility humility coming to senior level leadership in Russia. Huh? That's not
I would love to see it. I can only hope that that's going to happen someday. But yeah, we'll just see what happens there.
Because I never believe, even in America, you have it there. I don't believe we've ever. Yes, there. The root of it. It's not political. It's spiritual. Okay. We're all talking about, oh, you voted for this person, that for office. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Matter of fact, I became a freed man, Will, the last year plus. I've been fasting political news for over a year. And for
I bet you're a much happier person because of that. Like you're much more chilled out because of that.
Because I knew in the beginning, it's not a political, it's political things are happening, but the root of it, the very core of it is spiritual. It's either life with God or life without God. It's that simple. Anyway, I've said it and I'm proud to say it. And what's going to require everything is just prayer, interceding for all of us. That's what it's going to take. Not about, look at the face when we do this. That's what we're communicating, more anger, more hatred. It's not about that. Yeah, it's growled, that lion in me. Yeah, that's it, man. So my opinion, my political opinion, your political opinion means nothing. I'm sorry, nothing. However, our spiritual prayers, our prayers mean everything. That's the core. Don't let anybody fool you otherwise. Oh, no, politics come first. Oh, who you voted for, who you didn't. Oh, really? No. It's always the root of something, everybody. It's always, you gotta identify things to the root, not all the outer lying things, that target, that bullseye. You gotta hit the bullseye every time. Is that right?
I 100% agree. Like there's so many people that try to bring politics into everything that they do. The movies they make, the stories they tell, the things that they believe. And it just becomes so exhausting after a while. It results in crappy stories. And I've talked about this on my channel. When you try to force politics into everything, and not just politics, but like your own personal political views, it just ruins good stories, man. It really does. It takes great stuff and it just it makes them crap. And it's something that we've been talking about on YouTube for quite a few years now. And it's a real thing in modern Hollywood, and it just becomes really, really depressing, really boring. And it's just it'd be great to move beyond that. I would like to get us past that and just get back to great stories again.
Amen, man. And laugh, okay? Not to be so easily offended, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, you hurt my feelings. Oh, your feelings, really? Oh my God. Let's laugh a little bit. Let's start, all of us start posturing ourselves with joy and laughter, okay? And it's what's crazy, I've been married 30 years to Ramona, and we have 5 kids. We have 6 grandkids. It's wonderful. And what's amazing is internally in the family, we seem to get more easily offended by our own family members.
Yeah.
So, guys, let's just look. There's a lot of hurting people. Somebody comes up to you and they attack you verbally. Well, wait a minute. That's wrong. But did you consider, because they lashed out to you verbally, maybe they just lost their son or their daughter. Maybe they just lost their wife or their husband or something. So we need to consider other human beings. And that's why I say, what's my favorite quote? If not you, then who? So it's you. This person walked up to you. Let's say they are abrasive and they're attacking you a little bit verbally. Well, guess what? They just stepped into the world where you are now the one that's going, even though they're attacking you, you're the one that's been chosen to encourage them. And like I told you before, if they don't want to hear it, maybe give them a little hug, right? And if it's a guy, maybe squeeze them a little harder, you hear some bones crack a little bit, and then you can always pray for him afterwards. Okay.
Yeah. Pray for his bones.
We got a lot of hurting people, man. Come on. I mean,
absolutely.
I've not been perfect through this COVID thing. We have a lot of hurting people. They just want to be built up. We just want to be encouraged. We just want value. And the more we seek my opinion about this and that, it's just digging a hole deeper. So I encourage everybody. And I feel for the politicians, because guess what? They can't turn off they can't turn the political news off because they're part of politics. But the 99% of us are not part of politics. So I suggest strongly do what I did. You'll be a freed up person. Just turn it off. I know we have to watch news, current events, but any of the politics, just pray for the leaders. I don't care about the party anymore. The parties, you have to understand why I stopped listening to political news, because I started yelling at my political party, okay, and to the news channel that represented my political party. I started yelling at them. So my wife turned to me over a year ago and said, oh, hatred hates, no matter who you voted for, no matter who you didn't vote for. I said, you're right, honey, I'm done. So that's what led me to fasting, fasting, for those that don't know, meaning don't take part in it. Don't listen to it. But yeah, and just again, the best thing we can do, if you're not part of that political world where you have to be there and you have to listen, pray for leadership. Pray that the good Lord will raise up leaders from every party that are, walking in truth. That's our job, man. That's our job. But our opinions, be very careful, because that's what they are.
There's some great stuff in chat. People are saying you should be a regular on my open bar streams. That'd be awesome.
Why not? Yeah, why not?
I'll do a couple more super chats here. Yes, deleted scenes. He says, "Hail Drinker and greetings, Sam. Thank you for Flash Gordon and the Highwayman." Yeah, so that was a TV show you starred in back in the 80s, wasn't it?
Probably my favorite. Probably one of my favorite. My favorite projects. Why? Because here. Well, stand by. I'm going to get a picture of it real quick. Just take me a second.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute.
There it is. Brilliant.
Wait, let me get it. I'm trying to find the camera. That's so weird to find that. There it is. Highwayman.
Yep.
Oh, there.
That's cool. That's cool, man.
Why would it not be my favorite project for a guy? Because look, I'm dressed like a road warrior. I'm carrying a gigantic weapon strapped to my leg. I got a leg holster. I have a federal badge, law enforcement, to do what I want. And I'm driving an 18-wheeler and go where I want to go and do what I want to do. And I'm filming every day in the great outdoors of the Arizona desert.
So it was kind of like Knight Rider and Mad Max kind of mixed together, wasn't it? Like it was this kind of near future thing. Yeah.
There it is. Pretty cool. And that was a 20th Century Fox Glenn Larson project. Now, for those that don't remember Glenn Larson, huge, iconic. I don't know of any other producer who had five television series on the air at the same time. You ready?
He done Battlestar Galactica, didn't he?
Battlestar Galactica, Magnum P.I., BJ and the Bear, Knight Rider, well, the Highwayman, but there was one other in there. Oh my God, there's a whole list of them. Yeah, they were. That's Glenn Larson. That was one of his shows. I loved it, man. I loved it.
Nice. That's awesome. What's the next one? Joe Pineapples, he said, first ever super chat to the legend that is Sam J. Jones. I just want to say thank you for being my hero from 1980 until today.
Well, you're very welcome, man. And thank you for being a big part of my life. I appreciate that.
9 of 9, he said, Disney kills anything that it touches. Flash deserves better. Not sure I'd want to see Disney remaking Flash Gordon at the moment.
Well, they bought. Well, wait, but I'm not sure the business structure, but maybe I'm wrong. But they bought Fox, right?
Yes, they did.
So
yeah.
Fox is still an entity, correct?
Yeah. So all of their back catalog of movies and franchises, they still exist.
Right. So if they're still using the Fox name, or maybe they're allowing Fox to do it through Fox, but the parent company is Disney. I don't know. I'm not. I don't have time to follow that. To tell you the truth,
Yeah.
because I travel a lot, I work a lot. I got 5 kids, 6 grandkids, and you know what's crazy? I'm gonna most of your fans are gonna hear this for the first time, but I know it sounds crazy, but out of the 70 films and the hundreds and hundreds of TV shows I've done over 44 years, 40, whatever. I've only seen half my work. Why? Well, here's the reason why. It's like, kids, son, I'm not taking you to a football practice, and daughter, I'm not taking you to dance tonight because we're going to sit down and watch my show. Well, I didn't do that. I had a choice to make: either be a dad, right? Take the kids to dance, take the kids to the baseball, football, basketball, and that's what I did. And so when the fans hear this, now you're going to get a lot of cool mail. Is the first time I made that announcement, fans started to send me DVDs of some of my old movies and stuff like that. You know, so you might get a big influx of that. You know, so forward this to Sam. I know this movie. Well, I did see my show first, so but there's a lot of movies back then. All those old action movies that either had the word force, or maximum, or kill, all those movies I did way back then. I haven't seen,
Did they not do like premieres or opening nights or something where you and all the other cast, they would go along and see the opening night of the film?
Yeah, for the bigger budget films, yes. For some of the independent films, yes. But when I worked a lot overseas, I worked in Asia a lot, and I loved it. Oh my gosh, I loved it over there. I did a lot of films there, and maybe by the time it came out for their red carpet opening, I was back here making another film, But yeah, so my point is, half my work I haven't seen, which, I'm going to see one day.
I honestly, I think that's so cool that you've not seen a bunch of your performances. It must be weird to see yourself from 30 years ago. But hey, you've got the ultimate like out with your kids when you can just say, "Hey, your dad's Flash Gordon. What are you going to do about it?"
What are you going to do, man? Come on.
Yeah. I'll do a couple more here. 200 Watt Studio. He says, "Thank you for being here, Sam. How many T-shirts did you wear in Flash Gordon? Also, you were also great in Stargate SG-1. How was it working with Ornella Muti? Stunning woman."
Oh, she's wonderful. Yeah. I just didn't get it. That's why I had to keep asking for more takes. She was supposed to be there for 45 minutes. And then she was sitting on my lap, and I said, I'm not really understanding this. We need to keep her here a little bit longer. I kept asking for another take and another take. Sam, we're running out of time. Oh, no, Michael, I need one more.
We're not going home until I get this right. I'm with you 100%, man. There's another question from James Kelly here. Did by any chance you get to meet any of the members of Queen while making this movie? I'm thinking it's unlikely, but who knows?
Yeah, no, I didn't remember. I was talking about Tramp, the club. I know they hung out there a lot, and because of my schedule, I was in everything. I didn't get to go out at night that much, but Melody and some of the other cast members actually met Freddie and all of them. But I didn't.
Cool, man. Multi-topic talk. He asked us, because of that touching story about the suicidal thoughts of an abused child, I need to see the Flash Gordon movie. Drinker, keep giving us great guests like Sam.
That's cool.
There we go. Jonas Larson, he said, "Hello, Mr. Jones. Who had more gravitas on set, Brian Blessed or Max von Sydow?"
Well, officially, it would have been Max, okay? But unofficially, it's Brian Blessed, okay? Because he walks into the room and he takes it by storm. And Brian, when Max was on the set, there was no competition between Max and Brian. Matter of fact, they spent a lot of time together. And if you come to Wells Comic Con and we do our panel, which we are going to do April 2nd and 3rd, one of those days, Brian will tell you the story. He'll tell you a bunch of stories about him and Max von Sydow, about stories, crazy stories on the set, and asking for advice. And one time, Max came home where he was staying at a chateau, and something happened, and he called Brian and said, "Brian, I need your help. Get over here right now. You got to help me with something." So I'll let that, the ending, it was a cool ending. I'll let Brian tell that story if you come to Wells Comic Con in Telford on April 2nd or 3rd. I'll be there, and Brian will be there, obviously.
That's awesome. It's going to keep us on tenterhooks until then.
Yeah. And do you know who else is going to be there? Should I say?
Yeah, do it.
I'm going to bring it up right here. It is right here. You still see me, or am I lost?
I know I can still see you.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Doctor Who, David Tennant, right?
Nice.
Andy Serkis. Everybody. Oh no, Zirk. Did I say that right?
Zirkis. Yeah, Serkis. Yeah, Serkis.
Stephen Mover. True Blood. Anna Paquin. Sorry about the pronunciation. Anna Paquin from True Blood and X-Men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Campbell, Evil Dead.
Oh, brilliant. Monahan, love Bruce.
Yeah, Dominic Monaghan from Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Evangeline Lilly, right?
Yeah, she was in Lost, yeah.
Miranda Otto from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Alex Hogue Anderson, Vikings. Brad, Dwarf. Yes.
Dwarf, yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Peter Fasinelli, did I say that right? From Twilight and Supergirl?
I think so, yeah.
Mark Shepard, Ruth Connell from Supernatural. Christina Ricci, James Masters, Summer Glau, Brian Blessed, Sam Jones, Patrick Warburton, my buddy Kevin Conroy, Will Friedle, John Clover, Julie Benz. I mean, my gosh, guys!
Damn, that's some lineup, man. That's a great panel. That's a great
a bunch of people from the Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. That goes on. A bunch of wrestlers. Well, you got a bunch of Lord of the Rings guys from. My buddy Chris McDonald from Happy Gilmore.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you as well, like, obviously, the Lord of the Rings movies were a huge deal 20 years ago. Do you know much about the new TV show that's coming out? Do you feel excited about that, or do you not mind too much about it?
I'm sorry. I went back because I couldn't see at that time. I was reading the list. The TV series Lord of the Rings. Yeah. I don't know anything about it. I told you. When they hire me, I go. I do the work. I do the film. I do my due diligence, my preparation, and then I come home and it's the wife, the kids, and the grandkids. And then I travel and do these personal appearances. So yeah, I don't really follow all that unless they hire me. So I have no choice. Oh, doggone it! They hired me for Lord of the Rings. Okay, I can't.
What can you do? What can you do? No, I was just curious. Because it's kind of a big deal at the moment because it's getting a lot of press and a lot of attention. Because it's going to be coming out.
I'm sure it's going to be a huge hit. I'm sure there's a lot of naysayers out there because they want it. Oh, it's not like it should be. Oh, they need to do this, and I got that. But I'm sure. Look, my gosh, this is isn't Lord of the Rings. It's like a Flash Gordon deal, meaning longevity, right? I mean, forever and ever and ever and ever.
It's a classic story, and I guess we'll just see how well the TV show does.
Right.
I don't know how well something like this is going to work in a TV format, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
What was the question? J.S. Wallach back said, a manly man in Hollywood. Thank you, Sam. Great show, Drinker. Can you hook him up with Gary Nerdrotic? Sam would be great on Friday Night Tights. So in case you're not aware, like Friday Night Tights is like a big live stream that happens every Friday. They get like 10,000, 12,000 viewers live every time they do it. Gary, the guy who hosts it, he's a massive fan of comic books and geek culture, movies, all that. I'm
Yeah.
sure he'd love Flash Gordon as well. I guess what they're saying here, it'd be great to have you on that at some point as a guest. I think that would be awesome, man.
Yeah.
If you were ever interested, of course.
So I have to wear my tights, do I? Yeah, is that it? Yeah.
It's not that. Yeah, you're fine. You don't have to wear tights. You'll be all right. But yeah, it's generally a pretty good show. And yeah, they have a really good time there. The next one was from NB Zovic, said, "If not you, then who?" I felt that line. Hail to you guys both. Thank you.
Great.
SS Phoenix, he said, "Flash Gordon is the kind of material that is timeless, and thank God Critical Drinker arranged this interview. Competency matters, and there's too much propaganda built into movies now." Yep.
But we should also point out Rick. Rick had a lot to do with putting us together,
Yes, yeah. Big thanks to Rick. We talked kind of behind the scenes. That's kind of how this whole thing came about. I was chatting with him about potential guests for doing stuff like this, and I said, "Damn, I'm a big fan of Flash Gordon from back in the day. Wouldn't it be cool to bring Sam Jones on at some point?" Just thinking like, no, that's not going to happen. And he said, "Leave it with me. I'll see what I can do." And then there it is. He just makes it happen. It's great.
Yeah.
Rick,
thanks a lot, Rick.
Yeah, thanks, man. If you're watching this, thank you very much. Said RRTNZ, he said, "Sam, 100% guaranteed way to wow the Welsh fans. Say, oh God, I'm going to butcher this because it's in Welsh. Cymru Aberth," said it's pronounced. Yeah, it says Cymru Aberth, and that means Wales forever. So if you go on stage and just shout Cymru Aberth, that'll all the Welsh people will be happy there, apparently.
Did I say right?
Yeah. Yep, there you go. So that means Wales forever.
Cymru Aberth.
Yeah, so it's like going to Scotland and shouting Algbagra Brath. You'll be fine. Cool. JS Pena, he said, "If this becomes a series, then Drinker's celeb interviews." Yeah, perfect. That sounds good. James Hunter, he said, "Drinker, if you had to choose one last dram before you die, single malt or bourbon sour mash, if so, which brand?" So I would probably go for a Lagavulin 16 single malt Scotch whiskey. If that was my last drink before I died, that would be it.
Well, I'd probably do a Guinness, big old Guinness.
Nice. Do you ever drink whiskey yourself?
No, my dad was a big. It was like a Seagram 7, not a good quality. He drank that for 50 years, and I just never had it just didn't do well with me. So I drink a little wine. With dinner. It's it's weekend. A little red wine, but it's funny. I only drink Guinness. I know it sounds crazy. Rarely do I drink Guinness in the States. Only when I'm in the UK. Is that crazy? Yeah.
You have to go to Ireland to get a good pint of Guinness. Honestly, man.
There's a couple of guys you guys would know from the Game of Thrones. They had their own little group. Bobby and Andy. What was their group called? The Wolf and the Crows, I think. Anyway. So we met at a Comic-Con in the States, and they live in Belfast. They would not touch a Guinness in America. Okay. And I understand that. I got it. Even though some of the Guinnesses are on tap, but still, it's still not from, from Belfast or from Ireland or from the UK. And I understood that. And they were very adamant about that. Yeah. So people take their drink. You guys take your malts, your whiskeys, right? Your bourbons, Scotch. Yeah. You take them very serious, right?
We take our single malts pretty serious. Yeah. Blended whiskeys, no one cares because they're cheap. But yeah, like the proper single malts, like there's a real art to making them. And if you get a good one, you'll know it.
Is Macallan's very famous over there?
I mean, it's known. It's not like a proper.
I'm talking
high quality brand, but
high end stuff. I'm talking about $2,000 a bottle, You know,
Yeah. There's not many that go to that level.
okay, you know, they're aged. My buddy bought a $2,000 bottle of Macallan. He says, "Why do you spend so much?" He said,
Damn.
"Oh, Sam, it's what is it? I don't know, 50 years old. I don't know."
Well, this is the common misconception, right? Because once it goes into the bottle, it's not going to age anymore. It's not
Oh,
going to get any
really?
better. It only ages when it's in the cask. So once it's been bottled, it doesn't get any better after that. It stays exactly the same. It leaches the flavors out of the barrel that it's been put in while
Wow.
it's maturing. So that's why
Wow.
it becomes expensive, because if you mature something for 18 years in one cask, obviously it takes a long time, but then it's worth the effort at the end.
I didn't know that, man. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, so never be fooled into buying like a cheap whiskey thinking it'll increase in value, because once it's in that bottle, it's not going to get any more expensive. It's not going to get any better.
Just got to carry a cask with me,
Yeah,
right?
just get a big whiskey cask under your arm, you know. But yeah, there you go.
We can do this 2 hours. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, I know that obviously this is a while you've been on. Like I say, if you need to drop off at any point, just let me know.
Yeah, I gotta go do this little. My wife said I got a little conference call I got to make. It's
Okay.
getting late there as well. So, but yeah, well, let's take a couple more questions, and then
Okay.
what
All right.
time
Well,
was our actual start time?
yeah. So yeah, we're 2 hours, just over 2 hours in. So we'll do a couple more super chats and then we'll wrap up. So um, Gendel Prime said, Sam, have you asked Dallas Saunier or Craig Zahler about making a film? I really like the direction they're going with branching away from mainstream Hollywood.
Oh wow, yeah. Tell me those names again, because the first one, yeah.
Dallas Saunier, and sorry if I'm
I've
getting it
seen that name
mispronounced,
before. I just can't put two and two together. Go ahead.
or Craig Zahler.
Mm. Um, I've seen their names in credits. I can tell you that right now, but I can't put. Tell me the projects that they've done. Independent films, right? Yeah.
Just give me 1 second. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
So Dallas Saunier, some of the films he's done have been The Stranger, Hunt to Kill, Born to Fight, Tactical Force.
Ooh, action, baby. Come on.
Yeah, it's mostly action stuff. The Package, Enter Nowhere.
Oh, he did The Package.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I saw The Package. That's where I saw. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a producer on that.
Fantastic. Well, friend, you call him and tell him, let's do it.
Oh, he also did Brawl in Cell Block 99 with Vince Vaughn. So yeah. And Run, Hide, Fight, which I just reviewed recently. So yeah. So yeah, good stuff. Okay.
That's probably him. Is that actually him contacting you? Ooh, maybe, huh?
Yeah.
under a covert handle.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a puppet account. That's all it is. I know your game, sir. Yeah, the next one is from Douchebag Kylo. Said, when I was 4-year-old, my dad got me hooked on Buster Crab as Flash Gordon. He was skeptical about seeing the 1980 feature film, but took me on opening weekend anyway, and you absolutely won him over, Mr. Jones.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. Buster Crab was amazing. Well, we actually brought him in after we filmed it to help. He traveled with me. I think we went to 2 or 3 different cities to help promote Flash Gordon in America. He was wonderful, really.
Nice. Multi-topic talk. He said, if we had more celebrities like the both of you, I think we would have a better world because more people would be inspired into being good people.
Yeah, amen.
Thanks, man.
Good people with an edge.
Yeah, a drunken edge, preferably. Zeusy Boy said, keep up the interviews. Thanks for your content. Cheers, man. Yeah. Douglas Burton said, raising a glass to the drinker and Flash here in Texas. Nice, man. Yeah. Appreciate it. JS Pena said, how did it feel doing the Walmart commercial?
Well, that was cool. Sure. Yeah, that was this big Super Bowl commercial. Not this past football season, but The one before that. Yeah. Oh, it was great. You know, they wanted to do what Seth wanted to do, a little the little 80s theme. So yeah, it was a huge production. Oh my gosh, it was incredible. Only brought me in for one day and paid me half a fortune, and it was a huge blessing. And I got to put the tights back on.
There's no place to hide in those things, man, honestly.
That's right.
One more here. It said, Frozen in the 80s. He said, still the best Jets quarterback ever.
Come on.
That was brilliant. And Random Eskimo, he said, I just have to say, Flash, I love you, but we only have 14 hours to save the Earth.
Yeah.
Well, that and my thanks for giving us old birds a second chance to see a great classic.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man.
And Tag McNally said, what was your MOS in the Marines, Sam?
I was Amtrak's, amphibious tractors. Scary pieces of machine. I didn't mind it on the land, but when the sergeant said, okay, Sam, you see that ship out there in the ocean? I want you to drive this. I said, but isn't this kind of a tank? Okay. So I want you to drive this on the beach and out there and embark on that ship. Well, and I knew, come on, I was trained. I knew first time in the water though. I knew they were amphibious, but you have these fears of something going wrong. Well, as soon as I left the beach and hit the water, and then it got deep, the Amtrak actually sunk, and then it popped back up. Okay, that was a bit much. Not a big fan. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Amtrak, but yeah, and by the way, I still consider myself a Marine. So this June, it'll be 50 years, the big 50 as a Marine. I just can't shake it. I just can't get it out of my system, nor do I want to.
Yeah. No, that is an awesome story, man. It's like, what is that, the creed? It's like once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yeah, of course.
No, that's brilliant stuff. What's the next one? Chris Curran said, I always wanted a sequel to Flash Gordon. It would have been great.
Yeah, it's coming. Waititi, it's coming, man. I'm excited about it, and hopefully I'll get them and we'll do some talks, otherwise I wish them all the very, very best.
I mean, I recently talked about Jojo Rabbit. That was like one of Taika's movies. Very impressed with it. Just very, very emotional movie. Really well done. Blending comedy and tragedy all at the same time.
Sure.
Like, damn, man, it's a good filmmaker that can do that and make it work.
That's right.
So yeah, great stuff. Mighty Balzac said, Brian doesn't storm in, he typhoons in.
Yeah, he does, yeah. Yeah, you come to Wells and you'll see him. He just doesn't, he's amazing. He doesn't stop. He's just incredible. Really is.
I watched the documentary where he was trying to climb Everest.
Yeah.
And it just seems like the kind of thing Brian would do. Like, because I think they initially did a shoot with him. He was doing some documentary about like old timey guys who tried to climb it back in the 20s or whatever. Yeah. And they found out like for some reason this guy can go to really high altitudes and he's okay. So wouldn't it be interesting if he could actually try and get to the peak, the summit? And so he did it.
Brian doing it now?
No, I think he was about 55, 56 years old at the time. Like he had a crack at it just because he was Brian Blessed. He thought, let's try and climb Everest and see what happens. And he got within a few hundred meters of the summit, really close.
Yeah.
Had to turn back because, altitude sickness and stuff. But damn, like what a guy to have attempted something like that and who have gotten so close.
Yeah, he tells a different story when he was that close. If you come to the Wells Comic Con at the panel, I'll remind him to tell that story on what really happened. What really happened, I think it was, it was what, 500 meters from the top, 400 meters? Yeah. No, not even. Maybe feet, maybe 400 or 500 feet. And on what really happened. But it wasn't him. He was not the problem.
Really?
He has a different group of people that would not help his buddy back down. So, but the way he says it, I mean, come on, I don't want to ruin the story for you. The way oh man, he likes to use that F word,
Perfect. Like
and
him already.
yeah, and he likes to tell you those. Yeah, well, anyway.
I just love that he gave it a go. Like he was, he was a bit older at the time, and he was probably a little out of shape. But Brian just had a crack at it because why not? Just do it. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, I
Love
think
it.
he gave it 3 or 4 goes, right? Wasn't that the 4th go? If I'm not mistaken.
He definitely took a few shots at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he got really close on one occasion, and then he eventually had to
Yeah.
say I'm done with this. But yeah, like respect to him for getting that close anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
DM James, he said, I was Flash Gordon as a kid running up and down the hills of Kentucky. Flash is the greatest of all time.
Kentucky, yeah.
Wiggles the Clown said, where do you think Hollywood is going? And do you think there's any way to save it from itself? Yeah, so this is, I guess this is a question about, Hollywood getting a little bit, how do I put it? Like too political, too preachy, and things like the Oscars not doing very well these days because they're all very, very politicized. And is there a way to stop that? And I think the thing I've said in the past is like if enough of these films that they try to push that have got too much messaging in it, too much politics, if they keep failing, eventually they'll realize that they're making a mistake. Hopefully. And just draw it back a little bit,
Yeah, everything takes prayer, but I love what Michael Jordan said years ago. I love what he said. He nailed it. When he was endorsing his shoes. I think he's made $1 billion on basketball shoes, right? Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah.
I love what he said way back then when I think it was because he made a deal with a guy that was known as a conservative, right, to sell a lot of shoes to this guy's company. And I think I may be the fine points might be wrong, but it's the end result. And what he said is important. But he got a lot of flack from the far left for selling shoes to this company who was owned by a conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Jordan's answer was incredible. He said, wait a minute. He said, Democrats wear basketball shoes and Republicans wear basketball shoes and independents wear basketball shoes. Are you kidding me? I mean,
yeah.
It's such a great answer. But getting back to the specifics of saving, I don't think it's a question of saving Hollywood. I don't want to save any entity that, maybe I should backtrack. Is it Hollywood or is it the film industry? Okay, the film industry started out as an industry bringing entertainment, this whole new film, and then, of course, television, coming into our homes and then to the movie theaters and doing a lot of good. And it gave the producers and the stars, it's giving them now a platform. Will has a platform. I have a platform. We all have a platform if we're part of it. So yeah, let us use this platform for good, as Will was saying, to encourage, not to alienate a certain group of people. It's amazing how people talk about freedom and talk about equality, yet they have to put down another certain group of people. That to me doesn't come. Okay, I told you what I did. I backed off my own political party because I saw a flaw in them. Because that to me wasn't the truth. My political party, your political party, is not the truth. What the truth is what God has to say about those and raising up the right people in each of those parties. But Hollywood needs prayer to do. It's funny to me how, we all want the R-rated films. We want the action-packed. Oh man, it's incredible. But I want to see movies now, same action, same adventure, character driven. The stories are incredible. Relationships are incredible. You got to have an edge, but moral integrity and redeeming qualities. You can do it. You can do this. Now they're starting to do a lot more faith-based movies, which I think are cool. But what's missing in a lot of faith-based movies is the edge. Oh man, you can't get rid of the edge, okay? Because there's always evil and good fighting each other. You got to have that. You just can't come across so milquetoast and so perfectly righteous that you're going to lose. The movies, our prayer should be, let's make some great movies with moral integrity, redeeming qualities. Who's going to put, entertaining is going to put all of us on the edge of the seat. And it's going to reach the masses of the world, not just a certain select group of people. So that's what the prayer should be, is moral integrity, redeeming qualities, an incredible edge, good fighting evil. You don't know what's going to happen. Oh my gosh, good is losing now. And really defining what good is and what bad is. Okay. That's been kind of twisted and perverted over the years. But
man, we need to get you on Friday Night Tights. Honestly, this is like gold. It's absolute gold, and it's such common sense as well. Like to all the people watching this, it makes absolute sense. But like with so many people in Hollywood, it would almost be a revelation at the moment.
Yeah. You know what? People ask me all the time, Sam, what political party do you belong to? And I give the same answer, and it's an incredible answer, not because I just heard somebody say this once, and I was so overwhelmed by it. I thought, wow, what? So, Sam, Will, world out there, fans, people listening, what political party do you belong to? Your answer should only be one answer, and that answer should be the practical thinking, common sense party. Duh. I mean, come on. So, what does that answer do to people who are answering? What does an answer do to the person who's asking the question? Okay, now they start reevaluating. Do I belong to the practical thinking? Not, remember, what did I tell us to eliminate before? Eliminate public popular opinion. Eliminate it. So do I belong to the practical thinking, free thinking, independent mind, independent thinking? Do I belong to that practical thinking party? You know, it's simple. We got to simplify, guys. Things are so complicated. So that's common sense, practical thinking. It can't get any better than that, guys.
I would absolutely agree. There we go. Heel versus Babyface. He says, Sam J. Jones, hero of the universe. Perfect. As Heel versus Babyface, he's a good friend of mine. So it's great to see that. I'll do one or two more, and then we'll wrap it up. EZ05 said the SG-1 character, so Stargate, should have been spun out off into his own series.
We could just do the Bounty Hunter right now, as is.
Honestly, man, I would rather see your character from Stargate than Boba Fett in that Disney Plus series. So I know what would be more entertaining for me. Christopher Marshall, he said, far out, man. Yeah, indeed. James Hunter, salmon drinker, last dram of choice before you die. Yeah, I think I just did this one actually. Lagavulin 16.
I'd like to have the Guinness, but maybe with a protein drink as well.
Yeah, you might as well get jacked before you go into the next life, you know. Quite right. And Idiosin said, never actually seen Flash Gordon, but got excited seeing this was happening nonetheless. It shows how far-reaching the name is. Got to get around to finally watching it now. Of course you do. Go watch Flash Gordon right now. You seem like an excellent dude, Sam. Thank you.
Cool.
So
thank you. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening.
So yeah, man, honestly, like I just want to say to you, like it's been an absolute pleasure having you on tonight. Like it's been a real honor to speak to you. Been a big fan of Flash Gordon most of my life. And so to have this chance to chat to you, man, it's just been great. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Will. I appreciate it. And you keep up the great work, man. It's wonderful. And I love how you just keep it free flowing, simple, a lot of fun. You know, we've laughed a lot, and stress free. And I love the freedom that the atmosphere that you created on your show, and the fans. You keep being loyal to Will and his show, And again, I'm looking forward for me coming back to the UK. It's opening up back again. Again, not to sound redundant, but I'll be at Wales Comic Con April 2nd and 3rd, and a lot of your big stars that you're big fans of are going to be there as well. But Brian Blessed and myself will be there, and then I know I'm working on other. I'm trying to hit Birmingham, Manchester, London, hitting Scotland, Ireland, etc. Wales. Well, I'm going to Wales. That's my first stop. And by the way, you do know Jones. Now, for those that don't know, Will, I'm a Jones, and my mother was a Jones and married a Jones. And guess where we're from?
That'll be Wales then.
That'll be Wales.
Well, when you're from Wales, you've either got Jones or Davies. That's your two choices in names.
Theoretically, yeah. All right, man.
No, thank you very much. Like I say, it's been great having you on. Sam Jones is going to be at Wales Comic Con on the what was it, the 2nd and 3rd of April?
2nd and 3rd. I think it's a Saturday and Sunday. Not yeah. If the Saturday and Sunday is the 2nd and 3rd, because the Friday, I don't think it's on a Friday. I think it's a Saturday and a Sunday. So yeah, that should be it.
Nice one, man. Well, hopefully, before too long, either there or somewhere else, I will catch up with you at Comic-Con. I'll get to shake your hand and say hello.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you, like I say, you definitely need to be on Friday Night Tights. They will absolutely love you there. It'll be great.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it, and yeah, I'll catch you later.
Okay, man. Thanks. Take care.
Thank you. All right, cool. It is just me for the time being. I will get through the remaining super chats that are on this stream. Yeah, so just bear with me 1 second while I bring them up. What was it here? Dragovin808 says, "Hi, Drinker and Sam. I was wondering if you got to keep any props from any movies or TV shows that you worked on. Unfortunately, Sam's not able to answer that one. But yeah, I would hope that he got to keep at least his Flash T-shirt from Flash Gordon. Got to, surely. Nocte Angelus said Semper Fi Flash. Absolutely. Marine Corps all the way. I think Sam's clearly very proud of having served in the Marines, and absolutely he should be. Killer White Rabbit says, as George Lucas loved Flash Gordon and wanted to make Will You Come and Save Star Wars? I would fucking love to see Flash Gordon or Sam Jones in a Star Wars show. Absolutely fucking bring him in. Like I said before, his character in Stargate SG-1, I would rather see him than Boba Fett in a Boba Fett show. PLN 2002 said Flash Gordon's alive. Exactly. Gilly Writes Comics says, such an encouraging stream. Sam is such a class act. Drinker, kudos for arranging this. Praying for divine intervention and humility to Russia's leaders. We can only hope, honestly. Yeah, I just hope to bring I hope that somehow a swift end comes to that fucking war, because it's absolutely awful. What's the next one here? Yeah. You're awesome. Thanks for having Sam on. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a pleasure to have him here. It was great. Gank and Shanks says, Sam, I saw your movie for the first time when I was deployed a few years back. It was such a good time, during a challenging tour. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can't answer for Sam, but man, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, Flash Gordon's just one of those great fun movies that you can go to at any time. Chris B said, cheers to Sam and Drinker. You both kick ass. Thank you for this discussion. A few things are more obnoxious than some trust fund kids saying everything is political when you criticize their binky. Absolutely. Yeah, we touched upon that when we were talking. Big Discussion 76 said, excellent interview, Critical Drinker. Longtime fan, enjoying the interview with Sam and the wisdom flash. It was fucking great, man, to talk to him. Honestly, it was awesome. Samuel J. Weber says, my dad used to watch Flash Gordon when he was a teen, and his name is Ted, and my name is Samuel. Holy shit. He liked the Ted movie, and I want to show him this later. May you give him a shout out, Sam. Yeah, so yeah, your father's name is Ted. So Ted, if you're watching this, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you enjoyed the chance to hear from Sam. And yeah, well done for creating such an awesome son in Samuel. B. Schnickis said, keep up the great content, Drinker. What's the possibility of you and Gary doing a stream on Armageddon, the Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck classic, pure 90s cheese, cue Aerosmith? Absolutely, I'll do that. I would happily talk about that with Gary. We've discussed things like Face Off before, so yeah, 100%. Grandma Twerkin says, hash brown legend. Yep. And send it to the internet. Yeah. Bruno said, I was a huge fan of Sam the actor, but now I'm a bigger fan of Sam the person. Thank you, Drinker, for bringing him to your show. Thanks, man. Like I say, it was a pleasure to have him on. Clayton Von Isaac said, Sam, we met at Portland Comic Con and took pics. That's awesome. And yeah, if Sam was here to answer that, I'm sure he'd be happy to hear it as well. Diano says, great interview. Thanks, Sam and Drinker. Thank you, mates. Sammy Scott said, Sam, anything you're working on to quickly share? So yeah, I think based on what he was saying there, he's mostly about Comic-Con appearances at the moment. So that's kind of what he's doing right now. Game Master 16 said, hey, Critical Drinker, glad you got the Flash Gordon actor. Seen the trailer for it when I was bored one time. Looked cheesy, but a good cheesy. Yeah, watch the movie. Honestly, you'll fucking love it. Want to act in a movie one day. Any tips? I got none for you, man. I'm not an actor, so I wouldn't know. Yellow Flash said, I met Sam at Bubba Fest a few years ago. Good guy. Good to see him speaking out. He's a savior of the universe. He is. He's what we need right now. We need more Sam Joneses in Hollywood. Toady Sama said, please do Friday Night Tights. Hail to all. Yeah, we got to get him on. I'll speak to Gary and see if he wants to do it. Ennui Blue says, I hope Westworld 4 is out soon. I know you can't wait. I'm so fucking non-excited about Westworld Season 4. I can't explain it. Mutated Genome said, most epic live stream ever. Thanks, Drinker. Thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. 200 Watt Studio says, not the boar worms. I love that. Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck they are, but it's fine. It's enough to hear about them. You're my favorite critic. Thanks, man. Cheers. Is Timothy Dalton next? I would love to have Timothy Dalton on, man. Talk to him about being Bond and being Baron from Flash Gordon. That'd be great. What's the next one? Yeah. That was very cool. Very big fan. Drinker, great interview. Now I'm diving back in a bottle of Jack. Of course, that's the perfect way to end an evening. Yeah, bring the other Welshman on here, Timothy Dalton. Absolutely. Drinker rules. Yes, thank you. Bruce Campbell. Fucking hell, yeah, that would be awesome. Love that. Yeah, there we go. I think we're pretty much finished up here. Yeah, Hobbit Part 4, The Desolation of Integrity, indeed. Random Nonsense, what do you think of the lit RPG genre? What is that, literary role-playing game? I don't know what that is. Hold on, give me a second while I look it up. Lit RPG. Literary role-playing games. So, right, so it combines the conventions of RPGs, science fiction, and fantasy novels. I've not really played any, if I'm honest, so I wouldn't really be able to clue you in on that one, I'm afraid. Yeah. Also, I feel like I'm kind of losing my voice. But yeah, that honestly, that's me kind of finished up for the evening. That was great to speak to Sam Jones. Thank you to all of you guys that have tuned in for this. I hope you've had an enjoyable stream listening to me prattling on for a couple of hours. And yeah, thanks to my awesome mods who've done a great job as they always do. You guys are great. Thank you to Rick for arranging this. He's a guy who's been doing some work behind the scenes for me to arrange shows like this, and hopefully there'll be a few more coming up. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I've got Voxus Productions. He's going to be on Thursday night for a happy hour stream, and we're going to be talking about the Fellowship of the Ring. So yeah, that's what we've got coming up. So that's my next live stream. And in the meantime, I'm going to be doing a a review on The Game starring Michael Douglas. That's going to be on my second channel, Critical Drinker After Hours. But yeah, that's all I've got right now. So that is all I've got for today. So go away now.